Xia felt her eyes moisten. So beautiful it brought tears to her eyes. So perfectly matched it brought tears to her eyes. Xia subconsciously wanted to raise her camera to take a picture, but seeing the large group of professional media, she lowered it again. With so many cameras, there would definitely be good photos. She should just focus on blessing her good friends. Bye-bye, Man, a match made in heaven. Bye-bye, Man. May you be happy yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The main characters of the day walked hand in hand from the back of the stage, slowly moving forward. They wore formal attire with matching rose elements, arm in arm, occasionally glancing at each other as they walked, a sweetness that melted straight into Xiaoxia's heart. To the music of A Midsummer Night's Dream, they gradually approached the crowd. They stood under the gaze of chables, power, and flashing lights, poised and perfectly in sync. Xiaoxia's heart pounded in her chest. This time, it was from excitement. The world's most perfect couple by and Man. They feared no pressure or storm. They paid no mind to the powerful figures in the audience, because they only had eyes for each other. They stood beside the host. Wei Bai saw the big shots in the audience. These figures were indeed big, but Wei Bai's attention only lingered for a moment before shifting to his family and friends. He smiled at them, a silent greeting. In his line of sight, Old Wei was particularly spirited today, looking as if he had shed 10 years. Old Wei and Ms. Wu were in a suit and a gown, smiling at him. His uncle and aunt wore outfits similar to Old Wei and Ms. Wu's, their faces bearing shy and honest smiles. Sitting beside his uncle and aunt, his older brother also looked quite presentable. His younger aunt, Sister Xian, Zhang Xiang, Yu Huguang, Lu Chong, Chui Peng, Ningbo Chao, Xiaoxia. Wei Bai's gaze swept over everyone for a moment, and a huge sense of satisfaction suddenly filled his heart. At this moment, those tycoons at the long table were, to him, the least important. What was important was that his and Miss Xie's friends and family had come from all over to attend their engagement ceremony. He realized that being witnessed and blessed was such a blissful thing. Wei Bai held Miss Xie's hand in one of his, as if holding his entire world. With his other hand, he took the microphone from the host. According to the schedule, both he and Miss Xie needed to say a few words. Wei Bai had already prepared a draft, a rather official one that wouldn't go wrong. But at this moment, he suddenly changed his mind. After a few words of thanks and welcome, his hand holding the microphone paused slightly. Finally, I want to thank Miss Xie for coming into my life. He turned his head to look at his Miss Xie. I want to call you and tell you the weather is clear, to tell you I love you as people love hope and certainty. At that moment, even the string music faded. In the entire world, Xie could only hear this one sentence. The long tables with fresh flowers, the hall full of guests, the lights and cameras, the people with their various thoughts. At this moment, it all seemed to disappear. The entire world was reduced to this one person before her. Taking the microphone from his hand, Xie eyes sparkled with a smiling glint. Finally, I want to thank Mr. Wei Bai for accidentally breaking into a life I wasn't particularly proud of. From that day on, my breathing became easier and the things I disliked lessened. What this world was like I didn't know. Until you came, only then did I know. This was my world in its awkward beginning. The flashbulbs flickered and thunderous applause erupted. Xiaoxia was so moved her eyes welled up with tears. So romantic. Beside her, Liao Yinan was also a little touched. This guy, does he always talk so sappily? Xiaoxia. It's not sappy at all. It was beautifully said. Liao Yinan. Getting all weepy over someone else's love story, but always clueless when it comes to her own. That's just like you, Xiaoxia. At this moment, I can feel your happiness even more genuinely. Miss Xia, please, you must continue to be happy. As the thought flashed through her mind, Hu Jingxian swirled the red wine in her glass and took a light sip. Why did she feel a little wistful? Perhaps it was because the girl who was once her inseparable companion would, after getting engaged, devote more of her time to her fiancé. But that Xie, even before she was engaged, just when she was dating, she was always ditching her. And what's more, even before they were dating, just during the ambiguous phase, she was meeting and chatting with Wei Bai every day, only managing to squeeze in a video call with her in her spare time. Damn it, what was there for her to be wistful about? But There was still a little bit of wistfulness, but there were more blessings. Blessings to you both. I just hope that when they propose and get married, they don't ask her to play the pipe again. Wu Ruxin was so happy she was wiping away tears. Xie Jiyu was so sad his eyes were welling up. On an occasion like today, he couldn't show any inappropriate emotions. When Xie Jiyu went on stage, his face was already beaming, as if he were incredibly satisfied with Wei Bai and this engagement ceremony. Next was the signing of the marriage contract. Xie Jiyu personally carried the marriage contract onto the stage, guiding Wei Bai and Xie Yuman to sign their names and press their handprints on the red, gold-embossed contract. Once the contract was signed, their lives were bound together forever. Their little sticky rice dumpling, suddenly grown so big, was about to commit her life to a young man. Seeing the two sign the marriage contract without hesitation, Xie Jiyu suddenly recalled the year he got engaged to Yu Wei. Back then, he too, like the pair before him, had signed his name briskly, perhaps with the same expectant smile on his face. His past self had no idea what marriage truly was, especially a marriage entangled with so many interests and desires, which could utterly transform a person. Did these two children before him know what they would face in the future? Xie Jiyu put away the marriage contract and hugged each of them. He thought Wei Bai was far more mature than he had been at that age, and his character was much more sound. His precious child was also not the stubborn, headstrong Yu Wei. And with Yu Wei and himself paving the way for them, they wouldn't have to face the harshness, difficulties, temptations, and traps. Their future would be smooth sailing. As he thought this, Xie Jiyu looked towards the long table at old Master Xie, whose eyes were clouded. The night before last, after the banquet, the old master had used the excuse that he had incapacitated Xie Xinming to demand compensation for the second son, allowing him to return to the board of directors. Xie Jiyu didn't admit to having a hand in Xie Xinming's situation, but readily agreed to the latter request. However, he and Yu Wei proposed another condition. 5% of the group shares under Old Master Xie's name will be transferred to Xie Yuman, and after the engagement ceremony, Xie Yuman would officially hold shares and become a director of the group. This negotiation was conducted openly. With the engagement imminent, no one wanted any further complications, so it proceeded very smoothly. Putting away the engagement contract, Xie Jiyu patted Wei Bai's shoulder, then took the microphone and offered words of encouragement and blessing. Sigh. He still felt stifled. The moment he stepped off the stage, the smile vanished from Xie Jiyu's face. He turned back to look at the joyful Wei Bai, feeling even more exasperated. He couldn't stand the sight of this kid, yet he had to pave the way for him. Damn it. He'd leave tomorrow and go deep diving to calm down. Click. Xiao Xia raised her phone and snapped a picture of Wei Bai, grinning like a big idiot. Ha! Food's here, food's here. We can finally eat. So much good food. This is delicious. Try it. This is good too. Wow, wow, wow. Naniliao, look. Bye-bye, man, change clothes. A green sheepao. So gorgeous. They're coming down to toast. So many people. They have to toast each one individually. Oh my goodness. Do they have to toast the Prime Minister too? Oh, not one by one. It's by sections. That's better. They've reached this section with the business moguls. Why are they chatting? Here they come. They're walking towards us. Xiao Xia chattered into Liao Yinan's ear the entire time, so Liao Yinan was fully aware of Wei Bai and Xie Yuman's whereabouts. He adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and saw Wei Bai and Xie Yuman walk through the flower-lined path, coming to stand beside them. Xiao Xia hurriedly stood up with her red wine glass, while with her other hand, she shoved a delicate small pastry into Xie Yuman's mouth. Quick, eat something while you can, Xiao Xia muttered. You must be hungry, right? She hadn't attended an engagement ceremony, but she had attended weddings and knew that while guests ate, the bride and groom often went hungry. You eat too. Xiao Xia quickly grabbed another pastry from the table and put it into Wei Bai's hand. Drinking on an empty stomach is so uncomfortable. Xie Yuman leaned against half of Shen Yuan's shoulder next to her, secretly chewing. She had originally planned to use Xiao Xia as a shield, but alas, Xiao Xia wasn't tall enough. I ate a bit when I changed, Xie Yuman whispered. This is delicious. Xiao Xia then reached back, grabbed another piece, and fed it directly into Xie Yuman's mouth. Xie Yuman chewed again. Wei Bai was also chewing. Although they had eaten a little while changing, they were still quite hungry. Replenishing their energy with their friends, the two continued their toasting rounds. After one round, Wei Bai had become immune to bigwigs, until he stood before the Prime Minister. This pillar of Xia looked leaner and had a more powerful aura than he did on television. But at this moment, he seemed to resemble an ordinary, friendly elder. "Congratulations," the elder said with a smile, shaking Wei Bai's hand, then turned slightly to speak to Xie. "Your son-in-law is very good." Xie bowed slightly and offered some polite pleasantries with a smile. Wei Bai stood straight, a perfectly appropriate smile on his face. A few minutes later, phew, Wei Bai let out a sigh of relief. The toasts were finally finished. Next, the dignitaries gradually departed, leaving only family and friends to attend the after-party. At the same time, the media split into groups. One wave went to cover the after-party, while the other raced against time to prepare and publish their reports. Chapter 573 Hashtag Wei Bai Simuman Century Engagement Ceremony Hashtag. A 5,000 square meter garden was divided into different zones. A music zone, a dance zone, a dessert and champagne zone, a performance zone, a rest area. Throughout the entire garden, Wei Bai's Half a Rainy Day played in stereo surround sound. On the 3-meter-high water curtain wall, the lyrics scrolled continuously. In an area encircled by fresh flowers, a 100-meter-long dessert table was set, themed predominantly in shades of purple. The colors progressed from lavender to deep grape purple, arranged with floral art, creating a scene as beautiful as something out of a movie. At the very center of the dessert table stood a 6-tiered main engagement cake in purple. Opposite the main cake was a champagne tower that sparkled like crystal. 8:30 p.m. The night sky had deepened into a dark blue. The first firework burst open with a whoosh. Brilliant shades of purple and green exploded into lines of liquid gold, cascading from the high altitude. Bang, bang, bang! Fireworks burst one after another. Transparent pink, icy blue, brilliant orange. Finally, countless red lights shot towards the sky, blooming into a giant rose against the dark night. The rose pulsed, then began to fade. Just then, the lights on the underbellies of the first squadron of drones lit up. They swept diagonally into the sky, forming the leftmost dot of the character 4 heart. The second squadron followed closely, drawing out a hook-like stroke. 3,000 drones, divided into different formations, assembled 4 characters against the sky in just over 10 seconds, hearts in perfect sync. They hovered in place. The lights shifted from gold to red, shining with immense brightness against the blue-black canvas of the night. Whoa, drones! There must be several thousand of them, right? I never thought the first time I'd see a drone show would be in my brother Bai's engagement party. So romantic, it's so beautiful. Amidst the excitement, Wei Bai held classmate Xie's slightly cool hand, his heart filled with an incomparable sense of peace. He thought that this would be the most unforgettable day of his life. But all the experiences of the night could not compare to the importance of classmate Xie's smile beside him. Today, they were engaged, with the entire world as their witness. He could feel that she was happy because of it. And he felt happiness from the engagement party itself, but also from seeing her happy. Classmate Xie. Wei Bai turned his head, looking at the stunningly beautiful face beside him. "We're engaged. From now on, you're my girlfriend and also my fiancé." Xie Mumin lightly stood on her tiptoes and, amidst the splendid and lively atmosphere, gently kissed his cheek. "Yes, we're engaged. My fiancé." Hashtag Wei Bai Simuman Century Engagement Ceremony. Hashtag Simuman Red Dress. Hashtag Wei Bai Simuman Emotional Moment. Hashtag 3,000 Drone Performance. Hashtag Xieji Songlet in the same frame. Hashtag Yue Yuli Wuxin chatting happily. Hashtag Wei Bai's friends are literally me. Hashtag Zhuoyan, are you sure you should be sitting here? Hashtag that night. The trending topics list was completely dominated by the engagement ceremony. Of the top 10 trending topics, almost all were related to the event. Netizens were stunned. Wait, they're really engaged. I thought it was just a rumor. Holy crap, he's a sophomore getting engaged to the heiress of a top great Xia conglomerate. And I'm a sophomore who's never even held a girl's hand. Ah, so happy and so romantic. Hey, domestic idol dramas, take a look at this. The weddings you film are so lame in comparison. Okay. Damn, is this an engagement party? This looks more like the Great Xia Economic Summit, right? It's all VIPs of VIPs. It must be embarrassing in their circles not to have received an invitation. Huh, this venue. It can't be the main building, can it? Whoa, it seems the rumors about the capital's main building being privatized weren't false after all. How? Is that any different from the Forbidden City being privatized? Everyone's talking about how luxurious the engagement party is, but is no one noticing how perfect Wei Bai and Simp are for each other? And the way they look at each other is just so full of love. They're totally a sweet and happy young couple. Holy shit, is that Princess Leia on the far side of the group photo? She's the crown princess of the United Kingdom of Northern Ireland. Leia posted on Instagram a photo with Wei Bai and Simp. Her caption even says she was moved to tears. Damn, the international internet has exploded. This engagement party is being discussed all over the world. I see foreigners are trying to identify people. Those two in the white robes are princes from different countries. El Mayo, they look so alike, I can't tell them apart at all. Foreigners are all talking about the 3,000 drones, saying it's the drone power of the entire Great Xia nation. Ha ha ha, that's killing me. Blessings to CEO Wei and Miss Xia. Wishing you eternal happiness. So compatible, absolutely flawless. Wishing you a long and happy life together. I've been binge-watching all the videos of the engagement party online. Absolutely beautiful. Stunning. So there really are people in this world who are seriously in love. I believe in love again. Even the haters would have to wish them 100 years of happiness, joy, and bliss. Anyone who's been around the internet knows how rare it is to see such a harmonious and uncontroversial comment section. Almost everyone was stunned and moved by the engagement of the century, offering their blessings. Netizens were even frolicking all over the web, leaving comments on the posts of attendees who shared pictures from the engagement party. Our President Liu has really made it. He actually got a seat at the table. Old Li, you used to be the richest man, but not anymore. If you don't work harder, you won't get a seat at the wedding. Bro, at your age, it's time to hustle. Not for anything else, just to keep your seat at the table. One engagement party kept the entire internet buzzing for days. Every video and picture released by the media was hotly debated. Even Zhou Yin gained over 5 million followers amidst the frenzy, becoming a top-tier influencer on Douyin overnight. A metaphysician swore with confidence. I've read the charts for Wei and Xia. I can't reveal the specifics, but I can say that a major event must have happened between them last year, marking a turning point in their relationship. From then on, they entered the great destiny of the 9 purple departing fire, a fiery trial of love, the subtle movement of the Emperor's star, heavenly secrets transforming into prosperity, lotuses blooming with every step. With twin stars on the same path, they clicked at first sight. The star of romance is eternally theirs. The star of joy is ever present. The harmony of their union can overcome any misfortune. Wei Bai scrolled past it and casually gave it a like. Simp also saw it and casually gave it a like. And just like that, the master went viral. The master woke up to find his Weibo had blown up. He slapped his thigh and hurriedly deleted the numerous photos of beautiful women he had reposted and saved. As an online metaphysics master, he latched onto every trending topic. Who would have thought that this time he'd actually catch the wave? Countless netizens were commenting and sending private messages, begging him for guidance. The master opened his DMs and began his day of paid consultations. Among the many clients, one with the username Yogurt with Strawberries caught his attention. It was because this Yogurt with Strawberries had a photo on her profile. She looked quite innocent, a bit like a streamer from a group broadcast he used to like. His favorite streamer had quit not long after she started, and he'd never found another one he liked as much. This time, meeting Yogurt with Strawberries made his heart flutter, just like when he first met his favorite streamer. It seemed the star of romance was stirring for him today, too. Soon, the master was chatting with Yogurt with Strawberries. Yogurt with Strawberries was clearly also a shipper of Wei Bai and Simp, constantly asking about them. Things like, what was the major event that happened last year? What is a fiery trial of love? And are they really soulmates? These questions were too easy to answer. The master didn't even need to consult his notes to fudge his way through. Those two are definitely soulmates. As for the fiery trial of love, that was a villain Wei Bai was fated to encounter. Once you pass it, it's over. Nothing to worry about. Strawberry, send me a photo without makeup. I'm actually better at face reading than chart reading. Suya was not the person she used to be. She had become wary of strangers. She didn't send a photo, just quietly hugged herself and cried. She had thought that time would bring her news of Wei Bai and Simp breaking up. But what it brought were two cold, hard words, engaged. Such a high-profile, world-renowned engagement party. The overwhelming reports, praise, accolades, and blessings. How could she not see them? How could she not care? Tears like melting ice dripped onto her pillow. Suya thought her heart had gone numb to pain, but it ached again as if pricked by needles. She clicked on a video again. It was Wei Bai and Simp exchanging vows at their engagement party. She had watched it so many times, yet she was still watching, torturing herself as if by 1,000 cuts. I love you like people love hope and certainty. It wasn't until you arrived that I knew this was my world in its humble beginning. In the bullet comments, everyone was talking about how moved they were, wishing them happiness. No one knew that in a forgotten room in Lu City, there was a girl being burned by this vision of love, so tormented she couldn't break free. The master said that something major happened last year to change Wei Bai's destiny. That was Wei Bai's fiery trial of love, a fated encounter with a villain. Was she that villain? If Wei Bai hadn't gotten together with Simp, would he have been afflicted by the clash of inauspicious stars? No. How could she be a calamity for Wei Bai? She was clearly the one who understood him and loved him the most. But, thinking of those dreams, Suya couldn't help but believe the master's words. In her dreams, Wei Bai had agreed to her request, giving up that insignificant campus recommendation spot, and from then on, everything was different. Wei Bai didn't get into Shanghai University, had no outstanding achievements, and certainly didn't found companies like Macao Culture or Lingxi Technology. Everything was different, but she and Zhen Hongxian were glorious. They used the songs Wei Bai wrote, playing the part of a golden couple with a clear conscience. Tears fell, drop by drop, and Suya's heart ached with an unbearable pain. Twin stars, aligned as one. Wei Bai and Simp were the twin stars. And she, it turned out, was the story's malignant star, the inauspicious omen, the villain. It was another difficult night. Suya didn't know when she finally fell asleep. In a state of half-slumber, she realized she was dreaming. That dream that made her both proud and sad, revealing the man behind Suya and Zhen Hongxian, the true musical genius, Wei Bai. That's too absurd, Suya laughed. No one would believe that, right? From then on, Wei Bai fell into a deep depression. A depressed Wei Bai could offer no musical or emotional value. Suya gradually grew impatient with him. The pressure I'm under in my current position is immense. Bye-bye. Can't you try to be a little more considerate? It's not that I won't clarify things, but I need to find a right time. So, I was the only one who thought we were inseparable friends. In your eyes, gains and losses are so much more important than me. You're depressed, not paralyzed. Why can't you write any songs? Don't they say a state of depression is the best for creating? Suya watched herself spit out one unbelievable sentence after another, watching Wei Bai's condition worsen. No, don't let it continue. But if it didn't continue, should she clarify the truth? After clarifying, Suya would lose everything and become a pariah, scorned by all. In the beginning, she had only been swayed by Zhen Hongxian, begging Wei Bai to let her take credit for just one song. But now, there was no turning back. Suya heard her in the dream, thinking this. She knew it was wrong, but there was no turning back. She already knew Zhen Hongxian wasn't worth it. That Wei Bai was the one who loved her most. But Wei Bai was already in this state. Was she supposed to give up the successful Zhen Hongxian for him? She couldn't bear to. She couldn't bear to give up everything she now possessed. She could only continue down the wrong path, to squeeze more value out of Wei Bai, until Wei Bai died. Yes, Wei Bai died. When Suya received the news, she thought she had misheard. It was just depression. How could he have committed suicide? No, it couldn't be. He had promised her he would write a masterpiece for her, one even more popular than Spring Breeze Slumbers. How could he die? With Wei Bai dead, what would Suya do? Suya panicked, she cried. She even regretted not being better to Wei Bai. But Wei Bai could never come back. And it was then that Zhen Hongxian revealed his true colors. Countless women appeared by his side, so many that Suya couldn't tell one from another. The caring senior from university, a professor, the childhood friend who helped him when he was down, a famous actress. There was even a heavy-set woman named Wang Suihua, holding a child she claimed was Zhen Hongshuan's. Suihua is my son's mother. Yaya, you can't be so intolerant as to not accept her, can you? Yaya, although they are all my women, you are the only one I love. Yaya, you disappoint me so much. You'd rather believe those rumors than believe me. Yaya, don't worry, we're going to have the wedding of the century. You are the only woman I will marry. Looking at this Zhen Hongxian, Suya only felt disgust. An immense sense of absurdity nearly crushed her. This was the man she had abandoned Wei Bai to follow. She had caused Wei Bai's death for a scoundrel like this, but Wei Bai was gone. There was no one left in this world who would tolerate her and love her unconditionally. Suya was filled with regret. It turned out Wei Bai was the one who loved her most. Scene after scene of her past with Wei Bai flooded her mind. All the love and small details that Suya had ignored time and time again now dealt her a heavy blow. She knelt before Wei Bai's tombstone again and again, crying until her eyes were red and swollen. Bai Bai, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please come back, okay? I was so stupid. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely be with you and cherish you. Bai Bai, why do people only learn to cherish something after they've lost it? I hate my past self so much. How could a dead person ever come back? Suya's tears were nearly dry, but no miracle occurred. It never did. But this time, as she unsteadily got to her feet, about to leave this place of sorrow, she turned her head and saw a woman in black in her line of sight. She looked very thin, as if a gust of wind could knock her over. It was Simp Yuman. Hadn't she gone abroad after the CF family's internal strife and collapse? What was she doing here? Was she here to see Wei Bai? That's right, they were high school classmates. It was normal for Simp Yuman to want to visit Wei Bai. Suya wiped her tears and slowly walked towards Simp Yuman. Now that Simp Yuman was no longer in the entertainment industry, the friction and conflict between them were gone. Simp Yuman wouldn't bully her anymore. She looked at Simp Yuman as if she were just an old classmate she hadn't seen in a long time. Man, she said, tears streaming down her face again as soon as she spoke. Are you here to see Bai Bai too? Simp Yuman's face was expressionless, her pupils terrifyingly dark. Yes, Simp Yuman's tone was devoid of any warmth. I'm here to see him. Suya's tears fell in streams. In the blink of an eye, we're both 30, but Bai Bai will forever be 29. 29. Simp Yuman's gaze fell on the tombstone, and she suddenly smiled. Yes, he will forever be 29. Suya. Simp Yuman said her name twice. A sense of foreboding suddenly rose in Suya's heart. It was as if, in Simp Yuman's mouth, her own name was like that of an ant. Suya, Simp Yuman called her name a third time. I originally intended to let you live. Because he loved you, I thought he would have wanted you to live. But now I've changed my mind. Suya, Simp Yuman called her name a fourth time, and a chill ran through Suya from head to toe. Go and accompany him. Before she had even finished speaking, Simp Yuman suddenly pulled out a knife and stabbed it swiftly, accurately, and ruthlessly into Suya's soft abdomen. 1 thrust, 2, 3. Suya's eyes widened as she looked down at her body and hands, all covered in blood. Before her consciousness faded completely, she thought she saw Hua Jingxian running over from a distance. Man. Hua Jingshuan's voice was filled with anguish. I'll handle things here. You need to leave the country immediately. I'm begging you, just go quietly, Hua Jingxian said, supporting Simp Yuman. I promise you, as long as you leave, I'll send Zhen Hongxian to his death right away. No need. Simp Yuman's voice was as flat as ever. I won't be at ease until I kill him with my own hands. Gasp. Suya's eyes flew open. She subconsciously clutched her abdomen. There was no gushing blood. She was at home, lying in her bed. It was just a dream. How could a dream be so vivid? The sharp, intense pain, the agony of being twisted and pulled. It felt so real. She had collapsed at Simp Yuman's feet like a pile of rotten flesh, writhing and struggling until she breathed her last. She had actually died, just like that. and Zhen Hongxian would also die at Simp Yuman's hands. Her dream was supposed to be a beautiful one. In the dream, she had gotten into high university and become a universally adored pop star. But the ending, how could it be like this? Wei Bai was dead, she was dead, and Zhen Hongxian would die too. This was her dream. Why couldn't it be a purely beautiful one? Why did Simp Yuman have to appear even in her dream? Could it be that even in her dream, Simp Yuman was in love with Wei Bai? So, the torment and bullying she had once suffered wasn't because Simp Yuman was competing with her for resources and status, but because of Wei Bai. It was an irrational dream. Yet, Suya trembled with fear. She had no doubt that if Simp Yuman had loved Wei Bai all along, then after what she had done to Wei Bai in the dream, Simp Yuman would kill her. She would definitely kill her, just as she had just experienced. No. Suya curled herself into a ball, trying to ward off the immense pain. No. Her forehead and face were covered in a cold sweat from fear and pain, and tears streamed from her eyes. No. Her voice broke into single syllables. I was wrong. Please don't. Returning to Haicheng from their vacation in Semporna, Wei Bai was refreshed and full of energy. Simp Yuman's back, legs, and neck were all sore. When it came to physical labor, she had to admit a certain little turtle had won. Upon arriving home, Simp Yuman collapsed in a bed, ready to sleep for the entire day. Wei Bai was extremely pleased with himself. Normally, not using his full strength, he had always been suppressed by classmate Xie. This time in Semporna, he had finally turned the tables and become a master. But his pride was one thing. He still felt sorry for her. He decided not to torment classmate Xie today and let her get some good rest. Their vacation ended tomorrow, and they still had to go to school. After classmate Xie fell sound asleep, Wei Bai went to the study. He had accumulated a lot of work to deal with over the holiday, and he also needed to communicate with and maintain some newly established contacts. Wei Bai thought it would be difficult to get into a work mindset after the vacation. But surprisingly, he felt great, his mind exceptionally clear. Is this the power of exercise? Awesome. Huh, classmate Xie, you're awake? Wei Bai turned his head to look at classmate Xie, who was standing at the doorway in a simple white slip dress. This was their first day back in Haicheng after their engagement. The relationship between fiancés and boyfriend and girlfriend seems no different, yet it also seems completely different in every way. For example, right now, looking at classmate Xie like this, what Wei Bai thought wasn't my girlfriend is so beautiful, but my wife is so beautiful. That's right, he had a wife. What, fiancés don't count as husband and wife? What do people who don't even have a girlfriend know about being engaged? Wei Bai wrapped up his work, swept his still somewhat drowsy fiancée into his arms, and returned to the room. Simp Yuman. Wei Bai. Work was a bit tiring. Let's get some exercise. Simp Yuman. The next day, Wei Bai transformed from the fiancée of a conglomerate's heiress and the star of the wedding of the century back into a university student. This time, the attitude of his classmates in the lecture hall had undergone another major shift. Wei Bai was already used to it. In the past, after the Lingxi live broadcast and after his identity as a singer was exposed, he had received similar treatment. It was just that this time, the treatment was more intense. The professors in every class expressed their congratulations to him. Consequently, Wei Bai received even more complicated looks. Based on Wei Bai's understanding of his classmates, these looks were definitely not jealousy, but a kind of reverence for a true god. Yes, after getting engaged, Wei Bai had gotten a little carried away. On a matter of me, getting engaged to the world's #1 fairy at the age of 20. What's it like to have a bumper crop in both love and career at 20? Being on the trending topics too much and having too much popularity is also a kind of trouble. It took Wei Bai a few days to calm himself down and return to his usual gentle and calm demeanor. He went back to his state of running between Haidai University, Lingxi, and Mukeo culture. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was mid-November. The t-shirt on his back became a sweatshirt, and the backpack he carried was swapped for an autumn/winter model that classmate Xie had prepared for him. Wei Bai, wearing a sweatshirt and carrying a backpack, looking every bit a university student, went to Haidai Affiliated Hospital to attend the second phase delivery ceremony for Lingxi. This month, The details of the collaboration with Huasheng were basically finalized, and Lingxi's second batch of equipment was about to be delivered and put into use. Besides Haidai affiliated hospital, Lingxi also provided equipment and solutions to 5 other grade A tertiary hospitals in Haicheng. Due to tight production capacity and manpower, they hadn't yet collaborated with hospitals outside of Haicheng. However, this was already in the plans. Weibai had already negotiated a collaboration with the Haicheng government. Next spring, construction on the Lingxi headquarters would begin in Haicheng's Ruishan district. This construction project had 2 main goals. First, to establish an excellent office environment, and second, to build a world-class, high-end, precision laboratory. Once the Lingxi office park was completed, the team expanded. Lingxi solutions were continuously upgraded, and with the addition of Huasheng's mature production lines and capabilities, production capacity would naturally catch up. Weibai mentally reviewed his 5-year plan. In a little over 20 minutes, the rideshare arrived at Haidai affiliated hospital. The handover ceremony was simple. It officially started at 3 o'clock and was over in less than an hour. For the remaining time, Weibai strolled around the rehabilitation area, observing the application of Lingxi's technology on site. Haidai affiliated hospital had a dedicated rehabilitation area, which could also be called a rehabilitation hospital. Its equipment and medical staff were at the top level in the industry. Weibai made a round and, under the guidance of the medical staff, arrived at the dedicated public rehabilitation hall for Lingxi. After the first phase of delivery, there were already more than 20 patients in the rehabilitation hall who had their heads shaved and Lingxi's device printed on them, undergoing training. They all seemed to be in good spirits and were very focused. No one even noticed Weibai's arrival. In a corner of the hall, Deng Honyuan was training to control a robotic arm to type. For patients who had lost their ability to speak, using a brain-computer interface to control a robotic arm for typing was almost the only way to connect with the world, so an especially large number of people were practicing typing. However, to Weibai's surprise, there was a phone set up in front of Deng Honyuan. Was he live streaming? Weibai walked to Deng Hongyuan's side, craned his neck to look, and saw that he was indeed live streaming. He didn't appear on camera to disturb Deng Hongyuan's rhythm. Instead, he stepped aside and searched for Deng Hongyuan's stream. A nurse chatted with Weibai. After Lingxi's debut live stream, netizens all encouraged Brother Deng to stream to cheer him on. We also encouraged him to do it, thinking it would give him more motivation. There were a lot of people at the beginning, and Brother Deng could earn a little money. But his streams were just him practicing typing, so over time, not many people watched anymore. Netizens, the nurse side, they all like new and interesting live streams. Listening to the nurse, Weibai watched Deng Hongyuan's live stream intently. The camera was a bit blurry and the angle was off. It only showed the robotic arm, not the typing screen. There were very few viewers and bullet comments, only some words of encouragement. Weibai watched for a while before messaging Fei Wenxian to ask if she was available. After receiving a positive reply, Weibai left Haida affiliated hospital and headed to Mukeo Culture. Deng Honyuan didn't know Weibai had come. It was only 3 days later that he received a partnership proposal. The proposal was read to him by a family member. Weibai's Mukeo Culture wanted to sign him and make him an internet celebrity. Deng Honyuan, moving his mechanical arm with difficulty, typed out a single word, no. He had been live streaming for some time, and his streams had hardly any viewers. And now Weibai wanted to make him a celebrity, not charging him a dime and even offering a base salary. He knew in his heart that this was just Weibai's way of helping him. As Lingxi's first publicly announced test subject, Lingxi had provided him with a free brain-computer interface and rehabilitation plan. Lingxi and Weibai had already helped him so much. How could he just take their money for nothing? Seeing that he was unwilling, his parents didn't press him further. It was a nurse who, while giving him a 4 drip, said, CEO Wei came to see you a few days ago. He saw you were streaming and left without a word. But before he left, he told me that you, Brother Deng, would become a huge internet celebrity, and that he was counting on you to make him money. Deng Honyuan was stunned. How could a person like him become a huge internet celebrity? By online begging. He may have lost his arms and legs, but he wouldn't stoop to that. He had already made up his mind. Once he got better at typing, he would try writing web novels. Deng Honyuan rejected the partnership. Weibai wasn't surprised. He asked Fei Wenxian to make a trip in person to explain the potential of Deng Hongyuan's venture to him. With Sister Qian making a personal appearance, the contract was, as expected, signed smoothly. Almost every day, Xiaoying would pop into Deng Hongyuan's stream and spend 1 diamond to send a little heart. Recently, she had been accompanying Tao Min to the hospital for her Ling C printed interface, so she hadn't watched Brother Deng's streams as much. Today, after accompanying Tao Min through her second post-interface training session, Xiaoying sat down to rest and prepared to check in on Deng Hongyuan's stream. Yanzi remarked, "You really have perseverance. I went a few times, found it boring, and stopped going." Xiaoying smiled. "Brother Deng recognizes my ID now. I'm afraid he'll be sad if I stop showing up. He barely has any fans to begin with. If we all leave, it might affect his mood for his rehabilitation training." Hearing this, Yanzi thought of Tao Min and immediately pulled out her phone. "You're right. I'll go cheer Brother Deng on too." "Huh? Xiaoying, did I enter the wrong stream? Why are there so many people?" Yanzi exclaimed. Xiaoying was also puzzled. It was the familiar mechanical arm, the familiar background, but besides the arm and the background, everything else was different. The biggest difference was that the stream had 5,000 people online, over 60,000 likes, and the bullet comments were scrolling by in an almost nonstop flood. What happened? Xiaoying put on her headphones, turned on the sound, and watched the stream carefully. The moment she put them on, she heard an enthusiastic voice. "Thanks to Big Brother Longxiabeo for the full throttle drum. Brother Deng wishes Big Brother Longxiabeo a swift reunion with his ex-girlfriend." The screen cut to the mechanical arm and the typing view, where the arm was moving, slowly typing a line of text on the keyboard. "Longxiabeo get back with ex-girlfriend." Xiaoying stared dumbfounded. Before this line was even finished, a new gift animation exploded on the screen. "Thanks to Mimi for the 10 bouquets of flowers. Brother Deng wishes Mimi a happy 18th birthday." Amidst the uptempo music, the line, "Mimi happy 18th birthday," appeared on the screen with extreme slowness. Xiaoying finally couldn't hold back. On impulse, she opened the gift menu, gritted her teeth, and sent a pair of sunglasses. Then she quickly typed a bullet comment, wishing Tao Min all the best. "Thanks to Guaji Yuezi for the hot air balloon. Thanks to Linger Xiang Dingdang for the flowers. Thanks to Muterin for the lollipop." "Why isn't it my turn yet?" Xiaoying was getting a little anxious. Yanzi took off one earbud. "You sent a gift too?" "Xiaoying, huh? You sent one too. I didn't see your ID on the screen. I just changed it," Yanzi said. "That Nugula Ju is me." In the bullet comments, Nugula Ju was long gone. But on the stream, the enthusiastic off-screen voice read the name. "Thanks to Nugula Ju for the full throttle drum. Brother Deng wishes Nugula Ju's bestie a mechanical ascension." Xiaoying. What the hell was mechanical ascension? Only Yanzi could have come up with that. After the ridiculous mechanical ascension, Xiaoying finally got to see Brother Deng hand type her blessing. Thanks to Xiaoying AI Ying Tao for the sunglasses. Brother Deng wishes Tao Min all the best. Xiaoying hurriedly started screen recording. Watching the line she wanted being spelled out, bit by the mechanical fingers, right down to the final exclamation mark, Xiaoying felt a profound weight in her heart. She couldn't quite describe the feeling. It seemed to be a mix of being touched, along with some admiration and happiness. She hadn't expected that in just a few days of not watching, Brother Deng's live stream room had changed so drastically. The bullet comment area wasn't filled with encouragement or pity for Brother Deng, only an eager and urgent desire for him to type out the sentences they wanted. From the off-screen voice of the stream moderator, she learned that the live stream had just started a short while ago. Not long after Xiaoying's made Tao Min get better and better. The number of viewers in the stream skyrocketed. Xiaoying wanted to spend the money for another pair of sunglasses to get the phrase Chun Mao Hong for a lifetime, but watching the screen fill with scrolling bullet comments, she gave up in resignation. "Tomorrow, I'll be here as soon as the stream starts," Xiaoying said, feeling unwilling to give up. Yanzi was also getting hooked. She had a bit of money to spare and would occasionally spend some in live stream rooms to get a thank you, sis, or in love you from a handsome or beautiful streamer. How could those light and airy thank yous have the same power and emotional value as a line of text that Brother Deng worked so hard to type? Yinzi also wanted the sentence, wishing Yinzi a smooth graduation, but there were too many people in the stream room right now. Is it my turn yet? Is it my turn yet? Can I jump the queue if I had a pair of sunglasses? Everyone, don't be impatient. Don't tire Brother Dang out. Right. Let Brother Dang rest for a bit. Brother Dang is typing more and more smoothly. Awesome. There are many people giving gifts and many spectators as well. Xiao Ying and Yinzi had both become part of the audience. Who came up with this live stream format? Yinzi said, it's a way to train and earn money at the same time, and the netizens enjoy watching it. Xiao Ying had already guessed who it was. Wei Bai is really such a good person. She sighed with emotion. Realization dawned on Yinzi. That's right. Who else could it be but Wei Bai? She then thought of the concert tickets Wei Bai had given them. Next week, she and Xiaoying were going to see the Aurora X Haiqing concert with Tao Min. I need to get into the stream early tomorrow, too, Yinzi said. I'll request a blessing for President Wei first thing. Hearing Yinzi use the word request, Xiaoying suddenly felt that things were about to develop in an unpredictable direction. On the eve of the Aurora X concert, Wei Bai suddenly thought of Deng Hongyuan. After coming up with the plan with Sister Qian, he hadn't interfered in the matter again. He wondered how Brother Deng's live stream was doing. With that thought, Wei Bai searched for Deng Hongyuan's live stream room and clicked on it. The stream had been live for less than half an hour, but there were already quite a few people in the room. From the bullet comments, Wei Bai learned that many people had even been waiting around before the stream had started. In the stream room, the moderator was controlling the pace very well, and Deng Hongyuan was typing earnestly. Wei Bai was a little surprised. Brother Deng's progress was a bit fast. It seemed the supervision effect brought by the netizens was very positive. However, wasn't the style of these bullet comments a bit off? Offering up 100 flowers to request the sentence. Wishing on Ming a rolling tide of wealth. Offering up a pair of sunglasses to request the sentence. May my ex-boyfriend step in dog poop when he goes out. Offering up a Douyin no. 1. To request a rendition of Li Bai's Bring in the Wine. Wei Bai stared dumbfounded. What was with this offering up and requesting? The atmosphere in this stream room was a bit strange. After watching for a while longer, Wei Bai understood. Somehow, the netizens had started hailing Deng Hongyuan as the mechanical true god, and thus the stream room style had become what it was now. The online world always has some unexpected developments. Although this development was a bit bizarre, it wasn't a bad thing overall. On the screen, Deng Hongyuan was painstakingly completing Bring in the Wine. Wei Bai remembered the gift from just now. Someone sent a Douyin no. One just to have him type so many words. Wasn't there a setting in the stream room that linked the value of the gift to the number of characters to be typed? That wouldn't do. It would make the guests who gave larger gifts feel it was unfair. With that in mind, Wei Bai clicked the gift button in the bottom right corner, preparing to investigate the gift values himself. His gaze swept line by line and landed on Douyin no. 1. The number indicated below it, 10001. Wei Bai. He didn't watch live streams, so naturally, he didn't know the value of the gifts. He never expected a Douyin no. Want to be so expensive. Never mind then. Everyone, as you were. Brother Deng, take your time typing. Wei Bai exited the live stream room and went downstairs with classmate Xie for dinner. A new clay pot restaurant had just opened at the bottom of their apartment complex. It tasted wonderful, and the two of them had already eaten there twice in 3 days. After finishing off the signature pork rib pot and the spicy catfish pot, the two walked home holding hands. On the way, Wei Bai told classmate Xie about Deng Hongyuan's live stream room. Xie Yumin found it interesting and also clicked into the stream to watch after getting home. She planned to send a Douyin no. One to have Deng Hongyuan type out a blessing for her and Little Turtle. Unexpectedly, as soon as she entered the stream room, she heard the moderator shouting, "Thanks to Xiao Ying loves cherries for the hot air balloon. Brother Deng wishes Wei Bai and Xie Yumin to be together forever." Xie Yumin froze. Immediately, she heard the stream moderator say, casually, "Is the Jew a fan of our CEO Wei and the boss's wife? They've been here for several days in a row to send their blessings." Soon, Xie Yumin saw a scrolling comment from Xiao Ying loves cherries reply, "Yes, yes." Then, another person named Neohu Ju also followed up by gifting a hot air balloon. Neohu Ju, following suit, wishing Wei Bai and Simp forever. Watching the gift animation explode on the screen, a small, dimpled smile appeared on Simp face. Xiaoying loves cherries, very good. Neo Herdiju, very good. So she opened the gift menu and sent a peak of glory worth 28,888. The stream moderator's voice trembled. Thank you. For the peak of glory from classmate Xia. Classmate Xia wishes Xiaoying loves cherries and Neo Herdiju that all their dreams may come true. In different dorm rooms, Xiaoying and Yinzi stared at the stream on their screens at the same time, their eyes wide in disbelief. WA? This classmate Xia, was she the classmate Xia they thought she was? They clicked in her profile, and it was her main account. Oh my god. A peak of glory, just to wish them that their dreams come true. How could there be such a beautiful and kind-hearted fairy? Xiaoying hugged her phone, her heart overwhelmed with emotion. But why would classmate Xia bless them? Was it because they had wished Wei Bai and Simp forever? Xiaoying murmured. It seems classmate Xia is even more in love than the rumors say. The next day, the day had finally arrived. The Aurora X Haichung concert that Xiaoying had been long awaiting. She liked Chun Mao and wanted to see his concert. But to her, the greatest significance of this concert wasn't because Xiaoying wants to see it, but because Tao Min wants to see it. For a girl with ALS who could only get around in a wheelchair and had almost lost her ability to speak, going to a concert sounded very difficult. But as long as the girl herself was determined, the other difficulties weren't really difficulties at all. On this day, Xiaoying was full of energy from the moment she woke up. In the afternoon, she first met up with Yinzi, and then they went to Tao Min's house together. They helped Tao Min pick out a beautiful outfit to wear, and the makeup artist arrived as well. Tao Min was very surprised. Ever since she fell ill, she had long lost the desire to dress up. Today, because she was going to see Chen Mao, she put on a pretty dress she hadn't worn in a long time. But she hadn't expected her friend to have also booked a makeup artist. Xiaoying persuaded her. We have insider tickets. Our seats are very close to the front. Chun Mao will definitely be able to see us, so we have to get all dressed up. Tao Min was convinced. More importantly, the makeup artist was already here. She couldn't just send the person away. For the first time in the nearly 2 years since her illness began, she wore makeup. The makeup artist was very attentive, not only doing her makeup, but also creating an intricate braided hairstyle for her. Looking at her delicate and beautiful self in the mirror, Tao Min felt a bit dazed. It felt like she was in a dream. A little after 4 o'clock, Tao Min's father carried her into the car and drove them to the concert venue. I'll wait for you guys outside, said Tao Min's father. After the concert is over, I'll take you out for a late-night snack. Xiaoying and Yinzi happily agreed. The atmosphere was wonderful, as if Tao Min were just an ordinary girl, and the three of them were as carefree as they had been in college. Even getting into the venue was exceptionally smooth. Sisters from the fan club gave them light sticks and merchandise. A staff member came out to receive them, pushing Tao Min's wheelchair and leading them to their seats. Xiaoying and Yinzi followed behind the wheelchair the entire time, unable to even lend a hand. Why do I feel like we haven't helped with anything at all? Yinzi said. Xiaoying, we really haven't helped with anything. The chaos and mayhem they had anticipated never happened. Everything was incredibly wonderful. Yinzi exclaimed. It must be because the smooth concert journey I prayed for in God Dang stream worked. Xiaoying, wait, when did Brother Dang become God Dang? How did she not know about this? But today had indeed been really smooth. Looking at Tao Min's beautiful, expectant face beside her, Xiaoying felt especially grateful to Wei Bai. She heard from Lu Chang that Wei Bai would also be coming to this concert. She didn't know if she would run into him, but if she could, she really wanted to thank him in person. Fans gradually entered the venue, and the seats were almost completely full. Xiaoying took out her phone to check the time and happened to see a message from Lu Chang saying he had arrived and asking if they were inside and if they needed any help. Xiaoying quickly replied to Lu Chang. Besides Wei Bai, the person she wanted to thank the most was Lu Chang. Lu Chang had helped a lot for Tao Min to be able to receive the Lingxi therapy so smoothly. Xiaoying remembered that she still owed Lu Chang a meal. After the concert, she had to find a chance to treat him to a big dinner. While chatting with Lu Chang, Xiaoying saw several people walking toward her. At the very front was a tall, thin man. This must be the person whose seat was next to hers. This section was likely for internal tickets, so the person was probably a family member or friend of someone in Aurora X. Xiaoying glanced over, then turned back and silenced her phone. The concert was about to start, and she hoped not to be disturbed. Just then, the tall, thin man sat down beside her. "Hi," the tall, thin man said. "You all got here pretty early." Was he talking to her? This guy was awfully forward. Xiaoying smiled but didn't reply. Lu Chong looked at Xiaoying, then at her seat and the girl in the wheelchair beside her, and thought to himself, that's right, this should be Xiaoying. But could it also be Xiaoying's friend, Yinzi? Whether it was Xiaoying or Yinzi, it seemed she didn't recognize him. Lu Chong was the type of person who liked to take credit for his good deeds. Seeing that the girl was ignoring him, he introduced himself directly. "I'm Lu Chong." Xiaoying froze. With a stiff crack, her head snapped back around. Lu Chong. She had seen Lu Chong during the Lingxi live streams, but he didn't look like this in her memory. His face shape and hairstyle were all wrong. Lu Chong read the confusion in the girl's eyes and said with a smile, "The live stream camera adds 10 pounds. In truth, he had gained weight from being overworked back then. Once Lingxi Live became a success, he relaxed, hit the gym, and quickly got back in shape. Xiaoying carefully studied the face in front of her. Yes, it really did seem to be Lu Chong. She felt incredibly guilty for her earlier coldness. Hello, I'm Xiaoying." Hearing Xiaoying, Tao Min and Yinzi also hurriedly greeted Lu Chong. They never expected Lu Chong to be at the concert, with his seat right next to theirs. The three girls were all very excited, repeatedly expressing their gratitude to Lu Chong. Just then, a head suddenly popped up from beside Lu Chong. "Hello, I'm Wei Bai." The three girls were stunned. Who would have thought that Wei Bai was sitting right next to Lu Chong? They were so excited that for a moment, they were at a loss for words. Xiaoying was the first to react, saying thank you several times. She had just been thinking that if she ever met Wei Bai, she had to sincerely express her gratitude. But now that she had really met him, she couldn't seem to say anything besides thank you. Or rather, it felt as though no words could express the depth of her gratitude. "Sister Xiaoying," Wei Bai said with a smile, "my mom has told me about you. According to her, we even did our homework together at the same mahjong parlor when we were kids." Xiaoying was dumbfounded. Suddenly, she understood. Wei Bai must have noticed her nervousness and said that to put her at ease. Just as the netizens had analyzed, Wei Bai was truly a very thoughtful and kind person. Xiaoying decided she would be a fan of Wei Bai for life. "I'm so lucky then." Wei Bai smiled and said no more. Just then, Xiaoying saw another head pop up next to Wei Bai. This one was almost unfairly beautiful. So beautiful that even though Xiaoying was a girl, her heart skipped a beat. Xiam Yuman, of course. The girl next to Wei Bai had to be Xiam Yuman. Xiam Yuman looked at the unfamiliar girl, her small, pear-shaped dimples lifting gently. "Xiaoying, I know her. The one who wished me and Little Turtle to be together forever. Xiaoying is a good person." Her dimples deepened, and Xiam Yuman even gave Xiaoying a slight nod. Xiaoying was captivated. Up close, she was just too beautiful. So beautiful her soul trembled. What kind of person could possibly be worthy of such a beautiful and kind fairy? Xiaoying's gaze shifted back to Wei Bai. "Oh, it's Wei Bai? Never mind then." She was going to be a CP fan of these two for life. 7 o'clock. The concert officially began. Amidst spectacular stage effects, Aurora X made their grand entrance. "Hello everyone, we are Aurora X. Welcome to our promised engagement. I'm Rong Xiao. I'm Chen Mao." Throughout the 3-hour concert, the 7 members sang live while dancing and also had solo performances. It was full of sincerity. Chen Mao's solo performance was the last song he sang on the night of his debut, which was also his boss Wei Bai's signature song, a song with no name. After finishing the song, Chen Mao once again thanked his boss, Wei Bai, on stage. Usually, it was considered good enough for an artist to give their boss a quick mention when receiving an award. But Chen Mao was different. He treated Wei Bai like a big brother, constantly bringing him up and thanking him every other day. Wei Bai was so often sent forwarded videos of Chen Mao's thank yous by Shui Yunxin that he had become somewhat immune to it. But at this moment, hearing Chen Mao's sincere gratitude, he was still quite moved. Luckily, Chen Mao didn't know he had come to the concert. Otherwise, the camera would be on him right now. The thought had barely crossed his mind when Wei Bai saw his and classmate Xie's faces appear on the big screen. Wei Bo. On stage, it was as if Chen Mao's pupils were about to shatter. No way his brother Bo came to see his concert in person. Chen Mao was so excited his voice wavered. Brother Bo, I love you. This simple confession made Xian Yuman's face darken for a few seconds. Fortunately, Rong Xiao, who was managing the stage, reacted quickly, saying some pleasantries about welcome and gratitude to suppress Chen Mao's excitement. But the audience was even more excited than Chen Mao. Who could understand the feeling of seeing Wei Bo and Xian Yuman's faces appear on the big screen? This feeling of getting a big-name star at a concert. What's the difference between that and gold falling from the sky? Unfortunately, it seemed the two were just there to watch the concert, not to be guest performers. After the excitement, the audience was disappointed. If only we could hear half a song of a rainy day. Yeah. To be honest, Chen Mao's A Song Without a Name is far worse than his boss's version. On stage, Rong Xiao was interacting with the audience to control the flow. This was the kind of job that required emotional intelligence, something Chen Mao couldn't handle. Seeing his and classmate Xie's faces disappear from the big screen, as Rong Xiao redirected the fans' attention back to the group, Wei Bo thought to himself that it was no injustice that Chen Mao didn't get first place in the talent show back then. After controlling the stage, Rong Xiao and Chen Mao performed a song and dance duet. Following that was the group performance. Finally, the 7 boys changed into their supernova training camp uniforms and performed the theme song from that time, sparking a venue-wide sing-along. Hey, approaching you in the next second, the dream is ready. Show you my heart will never give up. As they sang, Xiaoying noticed that Tao Min was crying. Xiaoying wasn't worried, nor did she offer any comfort. She knew these were not tears of sadness, but of happiness. Under the dazzling lights and cheerful music, Xiaoying and her friends gently waved their glow sticks. She suddenly recalled that when she first started following Chen Mao, she didn't know about Wei Bo, let alone Lingxi. But fate was like a thread connecting everything. And so, it led to today, to this concert that would be unforgettable for the rest of her life. Chen Mao was a bit more mature than when he first debuted. His singing and dancing skills had improved exceptionally fast, and he was as relaxed as a superstar on stage. Only when he spoke did he still have the same cringy and silly air as before. Xiaoying thought to herself, she would be Chen Mao's fan for life. Wei Bo's strict selection, he'll definitely never have a scandal. When the concert ended, it was already past 11 o'clock. Wei Bo and Xian Yuman left the venue with Xiaoying and the others, preparing to go home in Lu Chang's car. Tao Min's father had been waiting at the exit, and he breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Xiaoying and Yinzi pushing Tao Min out. After seeing them say goodbye to a few people, Tao Min's father walked over, patted Tao Min's head, and asked, "Were those people just now your friends?" He didn't get a clear look at their faces, but why did they seem a little familiar? Xiaoying. It was Wei Bo, Xian Yuman, and Lu Chang, Tao Min's father. He quickly turned around, wanting to thank the young people in person. But when he looked back, their figures had already vanished into the darkness. He silently turned back and pushed Tao Min's wheelchair. Min, did you thank them properly in person? Tao Min made a muffled sound. Yes. From that yes, Tao Min's father could hear his daughter's joy. Perhaps it was joy from seeing Wei Bo, or perhaps it was joy from the concert. But in the end, they were actually the same thing. They were both sources of spiritual support for Tao Min. He swallowed back the urge to cry and said with a choke in his voice, "Good, that's good. When this Watsit called X holds another concert, we'll come again." It was almost 12 o'clock when Wei Bo and Xian Yuman got home. Actually, this concert had been quite surprising for Wei Bo. First, he was surprised that Aurora X's singing, dancing, and stage presence had all clearly improved. At the very least, it was listenable now. Second, he was surprised at how good the stage design and effects were. Third, he was surprised by the fans' cooperativeness and high quality. To be honest, watching it made him a little envious. A singer who doesn't want to hold a concert isn't a good singer. To be a good singer, Wei Bo decided to hold a concert. This was not a simple matter. First of all, Aurora X are song and dance idols, not professional singers. Some voice cracks and going off-key were within the fans' range of tolerance. And he, although a marginal figure in the entertainment industry, was a professional singer. He could not accept any flaws in his own live performances. If he were to hold a concert, he would have to train in advance. And then there was the matter of his works. Aurora X only had a few singles. Almost everything they performed at the concert were adaptations and covers from their talent show days. He was an original singer-songwriter. He would definitely have to sing his own songs. Was his current body of work deep enough to support a 3-hour concert? The quantity was certainly enough, but there were some songs Weibai had no desire to perform. As a person with high standards for himself, Weibai felt he still needed to let his works settle and mature. "What are you thinking about?" Simp asked as she walked out of the bathroom after removing her makeup and showering, seeing Weibai spacing out. "I was thinking, when should we hold our concert?" Weibai came back to his senses and smiled. Simp unwrapped the towel from her hair, and a fresh fragrance drifted to Weibai's nose. "If you wanna, we can do it next month. Just have Secretary Zhu handle it. It could be arranged in a week." Let's talk about it next year or the year after." Weibai had a rough plan in his mind. "When we have some free time, we can prepare for it properly." Simp tilted her head slightly. "Our CEO, Wei, will actually have free time?" "Yeah. Is he very busy?" "Not really, right? Isn't it just a bit of overtime after watching a concert?" Hearing the teasing in Miss Xie's tone, Weibai half-carried, half-lifted her to the sofa, pinned her down, and started blow-drying her hair. "Miss Xie, don't even think about sleeping early tonight." Simp, What was the meaning of that drawn-out Did Miss Xie misunderstand something? When he said don't think about sleeping early, he meant he wanted Miss Xie to work overtime with him. But once some things are misunderstood, there's no going back. And so that night, Weibai worked 2 jobs. One was physical labor, the other was mental labor. By the time he finished, it was already past 2 in the morning. Weibai wasn't really a night owl. Whenever he stayed up late, he found it even harder to fall asleep than usual. Miss Xie, who had worked alongside him, was sleeping soundly. Weibai gently kissed Miss Xie's cheek, then began his pre-sleep ritual of scrolling through his phone for a bit. Tonight's trending topics were dominated by the Aurora X concert. 2 of them were related to Weibai. One was hashtag Weibai, and Simp spotted at Aurora X concert. Hashtag the other was hashtag Chun Mao's heartfelt confession away by hashtag Weibai. Fortunately, his and Miss Xie's couple image was deeply ingrained in people's minds. Otherwise, with Chun Mao pulling a stunt like this, there would definitely be some messy comments. Unlike now, where the comment section was quite harmonious, with everyone praising Chun Mao for having a grateful heart. After scrolling through the comments for a while, sleepiness gradually set in. He locked the screen, tossed the phone aside, and pulled Miss Xie into his arms. He slowly fell asleep, smelling the crisp, woody scent on her. The trending topics about the Aurora X concert were everywhere. Suya watched the dazzling Chun Mao in the video, listening to the neat and excited cheers of the fans, and her eyes gradually dimmed. A year and a half ago, Chun Mao was just one of Zheng Hongshuan's unremarkable underlings. A year and a half later, under Weibai's packaging, Chun Mao had actually become such a dazzling superstar. Suya couldn't help but wonder if she hadn't made that unreasonable request to Weibai to give up a spot back then, would she also be standing on such a magnificent stage right now? Even if she and Weibai were just ordinary classmates, ordinary friends, she was so good-looking and sang so well. Weibai would have been willing to package her, right? In her dreams, she had experienced real fame, real frenzy, and also real pain. She had even died. For a long, long time, she didn't dare to sleep, afraid that as soon as she closed her eyes, she would see Simp's cold face holding a knife. The late night was the hardest time. It was also when she felt the most regret and the most fear. She regretted ignoring Weibai's efforts, regretted deceiving herself time and again under the guise of being good friends. She wanted to go to Weibai's side, to tell him that Suya was wrong, that Suya truly knew she was wrong. As long as he was willing to forgive her, she would do anything. But her abdomen hurt so much, it was as if a knife was cruelly churning inside. All her internal organs were being shredded, spilling out from the wound like rotten meat. Her forehead and back were covered in cold sweat, and even her teeth were chattering in fear. No, don't. Suya gasped for breath in big gulps. She didn't dare. She would never dare to get close to Wei Bai again, because she knew that CM Yuman was a lunatic, that CM Yuman would kill her. Getting into high university, becoming a star, all had become unattainable dreams. Suya clutched her stomach, her body trembling. I want to go to school. Yes, I want to go to school far away from them. Suya is repeating the year again. In the dorm, Xiaoxia was on a video call with Liao Yinan. Wu Song told me she yelled at Suya, and Suya saw the light. She was planning to go to university and study properly, but she never registered, so her admission was canceled a long time ago. She had no choice but to repeat the year. Her grades used to be so good, Xiaoxia sighed. Now, I just hope she can get in next year. Liao Yinan, like Xiaoxia, loved to gossip, but he had no interest in gossip about Suya. It was boring, nothing worth hearing. Didn't you dislike Suya? Liao Yinan asked. Xiaoxia shrugged. I don't like her, but I don't want to see her living in a wretched state either. Aren't you afraid she'll test in a high university? Liao Yinan asked. Xiaoxia gave a mysterious smile. Wu Song said that for some reason, Suya is dead set on getting far away from Haicheng. She gets triggered at the very mention of high university and says she would die before coming here. She even has an aversion to Lucheng now. Her mom went with her to transfer her household registration back to her hometown so she can repeat the year. Liao Yinan said, "Oh," bringing the topic to a close. But Xiaoxia suddenly remembered something else. Right, Wu Song told me that Suya gets triggered by Zhan Hongxian too. She said it just occurred to her to ask Suya if Zhan Hongxian was getting out of prison soon. Suya immediately flew into a rage, saying she had nothing to do with him. She even begged Wu Song not to tell Zhan Hongxian that she had transferred schools and moved back to her hometown. Liao Yinan had almost forgotten about Zhan Hongxian. Hearing Xiaoxia bring him up, he recalled that many girls in their high school class used to have a crush on Zhan Hongxian, calling him his school bully heartthrob. Liao Yinan didn't dare to associate with a heartthrob, and school bully was even more of a joke. Their high school was famous for its excellent discipline. How could there possibly be a school bully? Thinking of the past, Liao Yinan found it absurd. But after starting university and meeting people from all over the country, he had come to the deep realization that there were plenty of oddballs even among geniuses. The biodiversity at Jingda University was beyond imagination. Therefore, the oddball Zhan Hongxian no longer seemed like a big deal in his eyes. After all, there weren't many normal people in this world, but weirdos were countless. Suya and Zhan Hongxian were just a topic they chatted about and forgot. The conversation between Liao Yinan and Xiaoxia shifted to the oddballs they had met in university. Man has a classmate. That first roommate she had, remember? I told you about her before. The one who got into a fight with Yuan on the first day of school and demanded to switch dorms. Yes, that's the one. The one who thought Yuan looked down on her. Her roommate complained to me that she wears her summer clothes without washing them. She just airs them out on the balcony and wears them again, sometimes for half a month straight. Nobody in their dorm dares to hang clothes on the balcony anymore. Liao Yinan calmly adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. There's a great master in my dorm who never flushes the toilet for number 1 or number 2. Xiaoxia looked horrified. Is he still in your dorm? He moved out. His mom came to the capital to live with him, specifically to take care of his washing and toilet needs. Not to be outdone, Xiaoxia said, there's a girl in my department whose roommate goes to the library right after class during the day and barely stays in the dorm. Also, she doesn't have to split the monthly electricity bill of a dozen or so yuan. But that roommate drinks bubble tea and gets her nails done. My friend says she's quite well off, but she's terrified of others taking advantage of her. Liao Yinan said, a great master from my class ditched me on a group project. I only found out the reason later. He was using me as a backup, joining my team while knowing another, better group was short one person. As soon as a spot opened up, he immediately switched. Xiaoxia. So, did you find enough team members? Liao Yinan. We can still crush them even if we're short-staffed. Another girl in the dorm was also on a long call with her boyfriend. Like Xiaoxia, she was wearing headphones and speaking softly. She finished her call before Xiao Xia and overheard Xiao Xia's cheerful voice. Nan Iliao, you're so childish. Soon, it seemed Xiao Xia's call had also ended. The roommate pulled back her bed curtain and looked enviously at Xiao Xia, who was diagonally to her left. Xiao Xia, you and your boyfriend have such a great relationship. Unlike her, she had been fighting with her boyfriend frequently lately. She felt like they were on the verge of breaking up. Both relationships had carried over from high school, and both were long distance. How was Xiao Xia's relationship with her boyfriend so good? Although they sometimes fought, the roommate felt that it wasn't really fighting, more like kindergarten squabbles. Xiao Xia was charging her Bluetooth earbuds. Hearing her roommate's words, her immediate instinct was to deny it. How was her relationship with Nan Iliao good? They fought all the time, and he often infuriated her. A relationship like Bai Bai and Man Man's was what you'd call good, right? But Xiao Xia suddenly thought of the day Bai Bai and Man Man got engaged, when Nan Iliao had said that they two would have a grand, romantic engagement party one day. She thought of the endless things they had to talk about, and their many, many dreams of a future together. She thought of their future dog, Pumpkin, and their future cat, Tang Yuan. Yeah, Xiao Xia smiled. My boyfriend and I are the best in the world. If Xiao Xia had been modest, her roommate would have only felt worse. But hearing Xiao Xia's cheeky tone, she actually felt a little relieved. All right, you and your boyfriend are the best in the world. Xiao Xia, of course. Even though Nan Iliao's rapping was still terrible, what did it matter? When you really like someone, you won't care if they can rap or not. Autumn was Xiao Xia's favorite season, but autumn always passed by especially quickly. In the blink of an eye, the weather already had a hint of early winter. On this day, Xiao Xia had planned for dinner with Simp and Zhua Yishuan. Zhua, you changed your hairstyle, Xiao Xia said in surprise. What did you get done? Zhua Yishuan was a little embarrassed. The day before yesterday. Her short hair had grown to shoulder length, and she used to just tie it up casually. Until the day before yesterday, when Simp took her to get bangs and also had the ends of her hair permed. It looks so good, Xiao Xia said, touching her own shoulder-length short hair. Maybe I should grow mine out a bit too? So Yishuan thought for a moment and said earnestly, you could give it a try. Actually, she had been very resistant to change at first, but after making the change, she felt that many things weren't as difficult as she had imagined. Seeing Zhua Yishuan's beautiful new hairstyle, Xiao Xia felt encouraged. I'm going to grow my hair long and get those vixen waves. Simm's action of sipping her milk tea suddenly paused. That would require very long hair, she said. Xiao Xia was full of confidence. I'm not cutting my hair from now on. I'll wait until after college graduation and get big waves. Simp, silly girl. If your hair is too long, it'll make you look shorter. Oh well, let it be. The most important thing is that she likes it. The three of them never ran out of things to talk about at dinner. Most of the time, it was Xiao Xia chattering away. She talked about the freaks and monsters she met in the student council, as well as some kind and wonderful things with some gossip mixed in. Finally, she slapped her forehead and brought up a piece of big news. Do you guys know about Zhen Hongxian getting out of prison? When it came to this kind of gossip, Xiao Xia's eyes lit up. Of course, Simp and Zhua Yishuan didn't know. Xiao Xia continued with great satisfaction. He was supposed to be released much earlier, but he caused some trouble before he got out, so it was delayed until today. Today, December 16th, is the day Zhen Hongxian gets out of prison. So Yishuan asked curiously, how do you know? Xiao Xia. Everyone knows. People are talking about it in several group chats. Zhen Hongxian is a celebrity in our Lucheng, after all. So Yishuan, what group chats? Why wasn't she in any of them? In Simm's eyes, the name Zhen Hongxian was synonymous with idiot. She couldn't care less about people like him, but the mention of Zhen Hongxian made her subconsciously think of Suya. That was also an insignificant stranger. So much so that the name Suya flashed through Simm's mind and immediately dissipated. Her subconscious ignored it so completely that it failed to generate any divergent thoughts. After hearing Xiao Xia talk about Zhen Hongxuan's release from prison, Simp also began to share something interesting. She mentioned that a male celebrity Xiao Xia liked had been invited to shoot her new song's music video and asked if she wanted to come and watch. Xiao Xia immediately threw the amusing news of Zhen Hongxuan's release to the back of her mind. nodding furiously. Yes, yes, yes. I'll definitely go. A year and a half in prison, and now I have finally returned. Inside the gates of Luqing prison, Zhan Hongxian, dressed in the decent clothes issued by the prison, was filled with heroic spirit. Today, the beast was finally descending from the mountain. If some snitch hadn't reported him for reselling ham sausages, he would have been out long ago. However, today was not too late. The autumn wind was bleak and desolate, a perfect time for a hero to emerge. The gates slowly opened. Zhan Hongxian closed his eyes, preparing to welcome his moment in the spotlight. He knew that the news of his release had been sent out, and many people would surely be here to welcome him today. His brothers who had fought alongside him, his most beloved woman Yai, even those rivals who feared him. Today, they would appear at the gates of Luqing prison, with different feelings in their hearts. Some, to wait for their big brother. Others, who would not dare to step forward out of fear, because the king of Luqing has returned. Creak! The gate was slowly pushed open from the inside. Zhan Hongxian stepped out of the gate by feel, his head tilted back to enjoy the sunshine of freedom. There were no excited shouts and bustling crowds as he had expected, only silence. Yes, this was right. When he appeared, the crowd would be suppressed by his aura. How could they be noisy? What would that look like? But where was Suya? Why hadn't Suya thrown herself into his arms in tears yet? The sun shone on his face. Zhan Hongxian closed his eyes tightly and spread his arms. Come, Yaya, come into my arms. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. The surroundings were astonishingly quiet. Zhan Hongxian frowned. What was going on? Could it be that they were preparing a surprise for him? For example, would there be streamers and flowers when he opened his eyes? If that's the case, then he'll play along with them. Zhan Hongxian retracted his arms and opened his eyes with a calm and composed air. Where is everyone? How is there no one here? Not even a bird. No, this is impossible. I'm getting out of prison today. Didn't you notify everyone? Zhan Hongxian turned his head, glaring viciously at the prison guard. At the prison gate, the guard lit a cigarette for himself, his eyes filled with pity as he looked at Zhan Hongxian. He was about to be released, yet his family hadn't even sent a change of clothes. He was leaving in clothes donated by Good Samaritans, and he still thought someone would come to pick him up, and the way he walked out of the prison gate like he was walking onto an award stage. Has he gone mad? For his mind to be gone at such a young age, it's quite pitiful. The guard took a drag from his cigarette and pointed with a finger. There's a bus stop over there. The bus? Zhan Hongxian was getting out of prison. How could he possibly leave on a bus? Where was his awesome electric motorcycle brigade? Chen Mao. It must be Chen Mao. Chen Mao said he was done with the gang life and was going to get a proper job, but he was actually holding back a belly full of bad intentions, plotting to usurp the throne. His brothers, right now, must be enduring humiliation and carrying heavy burdens under Chen Mao's oppression. Now he was back. He was going to take back everything that belonged to him. In his dreams, the melodies and lyrics of those songs were still vivid. As long as he could replicate those songs, he wouldn't have to worry about making big money. When that time comes, his empire will extend far beyond just Luqing. And as for Chen Mao, Wei Bo, all those who had once bullied him, he would make them pay back 1,000, 100 times over. Clutching the 100 yuan he had painstakingly saved from working in prison, Zhan Hongxian got on the bus. On the bus, his heart was filled not only with his grand ambitions, but also with the woman he deeply loved, Suya. Why didn't Suya come and pick him up? The clever Zhan Hongxian had already figured it out. Suya must be under the control of that old hag, Sun Winley. Don't worry, your Xian is here. I'm coming to save you now. As a man of deep affection, the first thing Zhan Hongxian wanted to do after leaving prison was not to go home, not to see his brothers, but to rescue his beloved woman, Suya. The bus swayed and rattled, finally arriving at Luqing No, one middle school. Looking at the familiar gate of the middle school, Zhan Hongxian's fists hardened. His alma mater, a place that should have protected and supported him, but it had ruthlessly abandoned and trampled him. In the future, when he becomes an overbearing CEO, he will make the principal, the director, and his homeroom teacher bow and scrape before him. Turning his head, Zhan Hongxian no longer looked at the school, but walked in the opposite direction. Twin Star City. Yeah, I'm here. Building 41, Unit 3. Zhan Hongxian looked up at the 4th floor. In the past, he had confessed his love to Suya here many times. Back then, he couldn't go up, and Suya couldn't come down. They were like the cowherd and the weaver girl, cruelly separated by the Queen Mother of the West, only able to gaze at each other longingly across the height of 4 floors. But now, he was different. His life in prison had forged him an iron will. Today, no matter how Sun Wenli tried to stop him, he would move into Building 41 and live with Suya. Taking a deep breath, just as someone opened the security door, Zhen Hongxian slipped in right behind them. The person who opened the door glanced back at him. Zhen Hongshuan's heart was stung. Ha! Old geezer, don't you bully a young man for not having a key card. Following the old geezer into the elevator, the old man swiped his card, and the button for the 9th floor lit up. Zhen Hongxian, press 4 for me. The old geezer can't. It only goes to the 9th floor. Young man, you're here to see a friend, right? Just have your friend swipe you up. Pa! How could it be impossible? It was obvious this old geezer just didn't want to help him. A man has to bow to circumstances. Zhen Hongxian had no choice but to follow him up to the 9th floor. Fortunately, he was clever. After reaching the 9th floor, instead of taking the elevator back down to the 1st, he took the stairs directly to the 4th floor. Zhen Hongxian was immensely impressed with his own wisdom. A mere security door thought it could stump him? Yeah, I'm here. 2 apartments per floor. The one on the west side was Suya's. With a thrilled heart, Zhen Hongxian knocked on the door. Knock, 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 knock. Who is it? With a click, the door opened, and a middle-aged man walked out. The middle-aged man looked Zhen Hongxian up and down. What do you want? Zhen Hongshuan's heart sank. Could this be Suya's father, the one who was always away on business trips? Damn it. He hadn't expected this middle-aged man to actually be home. Could it be that he knew he was getting out of prison today and was specifically at home to guard against him? How could these middle-aged men ever understand that love conquers all? I'm looking for Suya, Zhen Hongxian said politely. The middle-aged man, who's Suya? A woman's voice came from inside the apartment, the daughter of the previous owner. The middle-aged man, oh, they moved out long ago. They sold the apartment to us. What? Moved? Zhen Hongshuan's face darkened, his eyes turning grim. That's Sun Wenli. Did she think he wouldn't be able to find them just because of this? He would regroup, his 3,000 brothers would march out, and even if they had to turn Luching upside down, he would rescue his Suya. Click! The door in front of him closed again. Zhen Hongshuan's face was grim as he walked down from the 4th floor, step by step. With every step, he felt a sense of tragic heroism, like a cold wind blowing over the Yi River. Perhaps only a true hero could feel this way. Since being imprisoned, he had constantly trained his willpower, always remaining calm and rarely getting angry. But now he was enraged. The wrath of a king leaves 1,000 miles of corpses. Sun Wenli, just you wait. Walking on the streets of Lucheng, with the autumn wind blowing, Zhen Hongxian calmed down. Since he couldn't find Suya for the time being, his only option was to return to the village first and plan his next move. It was now approaching evening. The street food stalls were all set up, smelling delicious, a temptation even a hero would find hard to resist. Among the many stalls, Zhen Hongxian looked around before walking up to a baozi stall. This baozi stall actually gave off a smell reminiscent of prison. Zhen Hongxian had thought that once he was out of prison, he would never miss a single thing about it. But now, smelling this familiar scent of baozi, he sighed. This was the path he had come from. There was nothing to be ashamed of. 2 meat buns. Zhen Hongxian took out 5 yuan. Liao Yin skillfully packed 2 buns and handed them over, when he suddenly found the voice very familiar. Looking up, he saw it was actually Zhen Hongxian. You're out. Liao Yin smiled. Try my buns and see if they're authentic. Zhen Hongxian froze. It was Liao Yin. This man, who had once been his fierce rival in prison, was now running a stall selling baozi. Along with contempt, a huge sense of superiority swelled in Zhen Hongshuan's heart. Taking a bite of the meat bun, Zhen Hongxian gave a thumbs up. This is the taste. Seeing his buns approved by a fellow inmate, Liao Yin was very happy and started chatting with Zhen Hongxian. When did you get out? What are you doing now? Zhen Hongxian looked at Liao Yin, who seemed like an aunt to him, and smiled confidently. Just got out today. I plan to start a company and make big money. Liao Yin opened his mouth, but said nothing. He had just thought this guy had become more normal, but he hadn't expected his head to still be full of such unrealistic nonsense. Liao Yin looked at the steaming baskets in front of him, and a huge sense of superiority suddenly rose in his heart. They had both been young, ignorant punks, but he had actively accepted rehabilitation and learned a skill, and now he could earn a steady living with his own two hands. But Zhen Hongxian still had that same attitude of having high ambitions but low abilities. From this perspective, he Liao Yin was countless times better than Zhen Hongxian. As evening fell, the number of people at the street stalls gradually increased. Liao Yin's Baozi stall also got busy. Zhen Hongxian watched Liao Yin busying himself, looking every bit the small-time vendor, and sneered inwardly. A man he once considered a rival had been reduced to selling Baozi for a living. The Liao Yin of today was no longer worthy of his attention. So, he had only two real enemies left. One was Wei Bo, who refused to help him and had repeatedly humiliated him. The other was Chun Mao, whom he had treated with sincerity but who had betrayed him. Right now, Wei Bo should still be in school like a lamb. And as for Chun Mao, dusk was falling. Zhen Hongxian had to return to Dongshi village to settle scores with Chun Mao. Look, Chun Mao, damn, he's so fucking handsome. As he walked, he suddenly heard such voices. Zhen Hongxian followed the sound and saw two young girls looking up at something. Following their gaze, Zhen Hongxian also looked up. It turned out they were looking at the large screen on a shopping mall. On the screen, a red-haired man and a blue-haired man were speaking into microphones. Zhen Hongxian had always looked down on this kind of effeminate celebrity, so he glanced once and looked away. As for the Chun Mao he had just heard, he must have misheard. He's our Lu Chung star for a reason. Chun Mao is so handsome. Seeing him on the big screen is a visual assault of beauty. Even as a fan of Rong Xiao, I think Chun Mao is even more handsome than when he first debuted. Zhen Hongxian snapped his head up and looked closely at the large screen. That red-haired guy, Chun Mao, it really was Chun Mao. A look of disbelief appeared on his face. Chun Mao couldn't even handle a simple gate-watching job. How did he become a celebrity? What on earth happened in the year he was away furthering his studies? Our Lu Chung has produced a lot of stars recently, like Sister Wu, Chun Mao, and Wei Bo. Weren't they all made famous by Wei Bo? Wei Bo is amazing, a worthy top science scholar of Lu Chung back in the day. Yeah. During the concert, Chun Mao even confessed to Wei Bo in public, saying something like, "Brother Bo, I love you." Miss Xie's face went totally dark. It was hilarious. Running into a boss like Wei Bo is like hitting the jackpot. I wish I could work at Lingxi or Makeo Culture in the future. Who wouldn't want to? I heard both companies offer great benefits and are super employee-friendly. Have you heard Wei Bo's new song? It's amazing. I've had it on repeat for 2 days. The two girls behind him chattered on, one sentence after another. Zhen Hongxian's expression grew darker and darker as he listened. Until, from the two girls' conversation, he pieced together the information that Wei Bo had become a big boss by writing songs. In that instant, Zhen Hongxian looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. His eyes rolled back, and he fell backward. The afternoon sun in winter is exceptionally comfortable, especially when it passes through the crisp, cold air to land on one's body, creating a feeling of extreme happiness. After finishing the last exam of the semester, Wei Bo, with his backpack on, walked towards the east gate of Hai University. Just then, a black Yangwang U8 stopped at the east gate, attracting a crowd of students. Is that Wei Bo's car? Yes, it must be his. I heard he just got a U8. It's so cool. I heard it can be driven like a boat if it falls into the water. It's not that a Yangwang is unaffordable, but about 8 is more cost-effective. Wei Bo smiled and greeted the surrounding students, then got into the passenger seat. In the driver's seat, classmate Xie was dressed in a shell jacket and sweatpants, looking very cool and stylish. A month after getting the new car, this was already his and classmate Xie's second time going camping. Although it was winter, sleeping in the car with the heat on wasn't cold at all. Tonight, they were going camping on Mingchong Island. Classmate Xie had finished her exams first and prepared the camping canopy, quilts, table and chairs, a cassette stove, food, and other things, then drove to the university to pick him up. Please fasten your seatbelt. We're ready to go. Xiam Yumin turned her head and smiled faintly. Yeah, Hadn't he fastened his seatbelt yet? Embarrassing. He was too busy looking at classmate Xie, who was a perfect blend of cool and beautiful. The last camping trip was with a group of people. Today was different. It was a date for just the two of them. Therefore, Weibo was especially looking forward to it. The car gradually left the city and drove onto the island ring road. Weibo rolled down the window a little, and the salty, damp sea breeze blew in, carrying a chill. In the distance, the setting sun was slowly sinking below the sea level, dyeing the horizon a brilliant orange-red. When the sky turned a blue-black hue, they arrived at the campsite. It was an open grassy area by the sea, already dotted with a few tents. There are still few people camping in the winter, Weibo said with a smile. He was in a good mood. Since they were out to enjoy their world for two, of course, he hoped for fewer people. Simp parked the car, and the two began to unload their things and set up the canopy. It was already evening, with no sun or rain, so there was really no need to put up the canopy. But Weibo felt it was more romantic this way, creating more of an atmosphere. The canopy was set up, the folding table and chairs were laid out, and Weibo took out the cassette stove and lit it. The blue flame flickered and swayed. "Shall we make some tea first?" Weibo asked. Simp was half reclining in a camping chair, wrapped in a thick blanket with only her head showing. With the water boiling, the space under the canopy started to feel a bit like home. A temporary home is still a home. Weibo and Simp sat side by side in their camping chairs, holding warm cups, listening to the sound of the waves, and gazing into the distance. So comfortable, Weibo sighed, stealing half a day of leisure from floating life. Simp also felt extremely comfortable. Compared to crowded and lively times, she preferred being with Little Turtle, just the two of them. Just quietly drinking tea and watching the sea like this filled her heart to the brim with happiness. Sometimes she would even feel a secret fear. Such a wonderful little turtle, such a happy life. Was it really hers to have? Fortunately, the person beside her was steadfast and real enough, like the steaming hot tea in her hands at this moment, able to soothe all her anxieties. Very comfortable. The night breeze by the sea was very cool, but Weibo and Simp were both wearing down-filled shell jackets, and with the addition of thick blankets, the chill wasn't biting, but rather refreshing and exhilarating. After drinking some hot tea, the two began to barbecue meat. Classmate Xie had prepared thickly sliced beef, pork belly, marinated chicken wings, small sausages, and washed lettuce. Spraying some oil on the grill pan, placing the meat on it, waiting quietly, flipping the meat. Under the dim yellow camping light, the process was unhurried and very therapeutic. After finishing one batch, they didn't rush to grill the next, instead taking their time to enjoy the food. The beef classmate Xie bought was really good. These small sausages were also delicious, like the kind of Korean-style sausages you get at a barbecue restaurant. Why is the tip of my nose cold? Weibo looked up and saw sporadic white flakes drifting down slowly in the lamplight. Is it snowing? He was a little surprised. Simp also looked up, her small dimples deep. It's snowing. It was January, so this was the first snow of the year. She had once watched a drama where it said that when the first snow falls, you should kiss the person you like. So, Simp tilted her body slightly. Cool lips pressed against his. How? How could she just? Without any warning. Well, I guess this doesn't need a warning. Classmate Xie was his fiancée. Of course, she had the right to kiss him. In other words, classmate Xie could kiss him whenever she wanted. It was a very light kiss. A fleeting touch. Weibo was left wanting more. But with a mouth full of the taste of beef, it really wasn't suitable for a deep kiss, was it? A light one was just right. The light, slow snow gradually began to fall faster, with a constant rustling sound against the canopy above. The temperature seemed to have dropped a bit. Weibo moved the portable stove a little closer to the two of them for warmth. Whimper. Was that a sound? Very faint, like the whimpering of a small animal. Classmate Xie, did you hear something? Simp then pricked up her ears to listen carefully. Meow. Her eyes widened. Yes, she stood up, the sound of a kitten. Stray cats usually hang around residential areas. How did one wander all the way to the seaside? It's so cold, and it's snowing, and it's so open and windy here. In this kind of environment, could a kitten survive the night? Let's go find it, said Simp. Weibo had the same idea. He stood up and turned on his phone's flashlight, hoping the kitten would meow a few more times so they could tell which direction it was in. Meow, meow. How come the sound was so clear this time? Following the sound, Weibo turned his head. At the edge of the canopy, a little tabby cat, not much bigger than a palm, was watching him warily, its amber eyes round. The little tabby looked to be only 1 or 2 months old. Its fur was soaked with melted snow, and it was meowing faintly. No need to look anymore, Weibo said softly. It came to find us. Simp nodded lightly, her gaze soft. It's very smart, but also very wary. As she spoke, Simp slowly turned, picked up a piece of freshly grilled, fragrant beef from the grill pan, and then carefully placed it on the ground a short distance in front of the kitten. The steam carried the aroma of the meat, which began to spread. The little tabby's pink nose twitched a few times. It meowed anxiously, but its paws seemed nailed to the spot. Simp didn't get any closer. Instead, she took half a step back. The little tabby meowed at her a few times, then moved forward haltingly and snatched the beef. Whoa. It seems to be starving. Weibo breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the kitten quickly devour the meat. Mantu also makes this sound when he eats something particularly delicious, Simp said with a slight smile. It means this is delicious. As she spoke, she turned back, picked up another slice of beef, and still gently placed it in the same spot. Go on, eat. No other cat is going to fight you for it. This time, the little tabby didn't hesitate. It swallowed quickly, looking up at the 2 behemoths in front of it as it ate. By the time Simp put down the 3rd slice of beef, the kitten was already allowing her to squat in front of it. With the 4th slice of beef, the kitten actually took the initiative to walk towards Simp, rubbing against her feet. Meow, meow. Simp didn't immediately reach out to pet the cat, instead giving it a little time to adjust. Only after giving the kitten a little warm water to drink did she slowly extend a finger and tap the little tabby on the head. Mio, the little tabby flopped right over. Weibo laughed. Is it trying to pull a scam? Her dimples appeared softly, and we fell for it. Having lost its wariness, the little tabby was wrapped up in Weibo's scarf, with only its damp little head sticking out. Weibo had intended to warm the little thing up, but unexpectedly, it was quiet in his arms at first, and then soon began to purr softly. It had actually fallen asleep. Weibo held the kitten in his arms and sat back down in the camping chair. Let's adopt it. Let's give a name. The 2 of them spoke in unison. The blue flame of the portable stove felt especially warm in the snowy weather. Weibo couldn't help but laugh. Naming it already? We don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. It's all the same, Simp said, mentioning the name Xiaoxia had for her future pets. Xiaoxia said she wants to have both a cat and a dog someday. The dog will be called Pumpkin, and the cat will be called Tang Yuan. Those 2 names, Weibo easily connected them to Liao Yinan and Tang Xiaoxia's full names. She's quite creative, Weibo laughed. So what should he and classmate Xia's kitten be called? Should they use a pun like Xiao, Xia did? It didn't seem very easy. We found on a snowy day. How about Xiao Shui, little snow? Weibo suggested. Simp. The little tabby was grayish. Was Xiao Shui an appropriate name? How about Yue, January? Simp said softly. It's January right now. That doesn't seem to roll off the tongue very well. Weibo thought for a moment more, and then, struck by a sudden inspiration, came up with what he considered a brilliant name. Let's call it Calabash Brothers. Simp strongly objected. After half an hour of intense discussion, the kitten finally had a name. Wei Lai Fu. Yes, just that simple and unadorned. But it received the unanimous approval of both of them. As for whether Lai, Fu himself agreed. That wasn't important. What parent asked for their child's opinion when giving them a name anyway? By the time they finished the barbecue, the snow had stopped, yet Lai Fu still hadn't woken up. He was probably too exhausted before. Having finally found a safe environment, he just knocked out completely, Weibo guessed. Simp stroked Lai Fu's soft little head. The little one is full and sleepy. A little after 10, after packing up the canopy and chairs, the 2 got into the car. The back seats were folded down, creating a 1.8-meter wide bed, paired with an automatic car mattress, covered with a down duvet, and with the heater on. Weibo held his fiancée, and at their feet was a soft little cat wrapped in a scarf. He was so happy that his whole body felt completely relaxed and comfortable. Classmates, yeah. According to our original plan, we were going to get a kitten after graduation, Weibai said. Simp, Of course, she didn't think that little turtle meant they should get rid of the kitten. She was just curious about what he would say next. I like to plan things in advance, but life is actually made up of many accidents, Weibai continued. For example, meeting this kitten today was an accident, but it's a beautiful one. Simp nestled her head into his chest. It's not just between people and kittens. Meetings between people are also accidents. There are over 8 billion people in the world. The probability of two strangers meeting is less than 0.005%. So, encounters between people are also accidents. Perhaps all encounters are accidents. Only our love is not. Soaking in his warmth, Simp thought to herself. Just like this little tabby cat. Maybe from the moment I met you, I wanted to latch on to you. What? You guys actually got a cat before me. In a dessert shop in Lucheng, Xiaoxia grumbled indignantly. After hearing Simp describe the whole story of how Lai Fu had scammed his way to them, Xiaoxia became even more indignant, though the angle of her indignation had changed dramatically. 5 minutes of pretending, a lifetime of luxury and wealth. How about I let you guys pick me up and take me home too? Simp hesitated. She's finally married off. Why would I take her back? Besides, would Liaoinan even agree? Xiaoxia noticed her hesitation and was immediately heartbroken, only turning her sorrow into joy after drinking the milk tea Simp bought for her. Boy or girl? Xiaoxia asked. Simp, a boy. Xiaoxia, oh, my Tangyuan is a girl. Simp, do you even have a cat? And it's a girl? So where is Lai Fu now? Your place or Bye-Bye's? Xiaoxia asked. Simp, at Bye-Bye's. I have Mantu at home, and he has a bad temper. I'm afraid Mantu would beat Lai Fu up. Just then, Weibai sent over a few cute photos of Lai Fu from that day. After admiring them herself, Simp handed the phone to Xiaoxia. Receiving Xiaoxia's praise of so cute, Simp was satisfied. After finishing their milk tea and small cakes, the two were about to part ways. Xiaoxia was going to meet Liaoinan, and she was going home. It was currently winter break. After staying in Lucheng for 2 more days, she had to return to Beijing to complete her busy schedule. But this time, she wouldn't be separated from her little turtle for too long. On the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year, little turtle would be going to Beijing to join her, attending some public events together as an engaged couple. Because she knew little turtle would be with her, she didn't resist the set schedule as much. Instead, she was looking forward to it. In the Maybach, Simp opened the window for some air. The cold night wind poured into the car, dispelling the stuffiness from the heater. It was a little cold, but still comfortable. Simp casually glanced out the window and happened to see a somewhat familiar figure ahead. Was that Suya? The figure looked similar. Suya sensed the gaze from behind her. Turning her head, she happened to see Simp's cold, deep eyes in the Maybach as it swept past. Those eyes, they were just like the ones she had seen in her dreams. Ruthless, bloodthirsty, and indifferent. A chill quickly spread through Suya's entire body. It was Simp. Was Simp following her? But she hadn't done anything. She had clearly been staying far away. She had even left Lucheng. She only came back today to deliver a New Year's gift to a relative with her mother. Even so, had she been targeted by the devil like Simp? No, maybe it was just a coincidence. Don't look at her again. Don't let her see me. Suya abruptly lowered her head, wishing she had an invisibility spell to hide herself. In the Maybach, Simp withdrew her gaze. Recalling the fleeting eye contact, Suya's face had been filled with terror. Suya seemed to be very afraid of her. Simp raised an eyebrow slightly, finding it a bit strange. What had she done? So inexplicable. Forget it, just an insignificant person. The next time Suya's name was heard, it was the autumn of the following year. By this autumn, Lingxi's application had expanded to cover 13 cities nationwide. The industrial park was beginning to take shape. Jingxian had officially taken charge of the Hua family's beverage line, and Xiaoxia had successfully won the election to become the student council president, just as she had wished. As for Simp, she spent almost the entire summer working on a research project with her professor, only entering a rest phase in late autumn. On this day, everyone gathered to celebrate Xiao Xia becoming the student council president of High University. After a few drinks, Xiao Xia started sharing a lot of gossip she had recently collected. One piece was about Suya. Suya got into an undergraduate program at university in the north and finally went off to school. Suya repeated another year? Zhua Yishuan was surprised. Xiao Xia. You didn't know? Zhua Yishuan looked at Wei Bo and Simp. Did you two know? Both of them shook their heads in unison. No, to think she repeated another year. By this time, they were already in their third year of university. Xiao Xia. Such big gossip, and she hadn't told Bye-Bye and Man-Man. But it's also possible she deliberately didn't mention it at the time. After all, Suya was a somewhat sensitive topic, and it wouldn't be good if telling them made Bye-Bye and Man-Man unhappy. But why did she bring it up now? It must be because she felt that everyone was moving forward, and some things from the past had become unimportant, right? Look, now that she mentioned it, Bye-Bye and Man-Man were listening as if it were ordinary gossip, even a little curious. But Xiao Xia didn't elaborate, mainly because this was just a very insignificant piece among her many gossip items, and she had a lot more to share. Lu Chang, yes, the Lu Chang from your company, Bye-Bye. He's in a relationship. This time, Wei Bo was truly shocked. Lu Chang was in a relationship, and he didn't even know. How did Xiao Xia find out? Xiao Xia. Lu Chang changed his profile picture across all platforms to a cherry. So his girlfriend's name must be related to cherries, or she just really likes eating them. Wei Bo. That guy Lu Chang. Could he have changed his profile pictures everywhere just to cater to the screen name, Xiao Ying loves cherries? Xiao Xia continued to announce the gossip she knew. The Bao has a new goddess. He says he's truly fallen in love this time. Zhou Yin and the others were all familiar with Dabao, and upon hearing this, showed the same next topic expression as Wei Bo. Dabao fell in love once every half a month, and each time he would post heartfelt moments on his social media. Everyone was quite familiar with this pattern. All right, next. Xiao Xia cleared her throat. Next, I'm going to announce a bombshell. Do you know why you haven't seen Ning Guoqiao and Sister Yunxin today? Xiao Xia teased, keeping them in suspense. Wei Bo, they went to Disneyland tonight. Xiao Xia looked mysterious. Then do you know why they went to Disneyland tonight? Wei Bo, they probably just felt like going. Seeing he wasn't taking the bait at all, Xiao Xia said directly, because today is the 521st day anniversary of their relationship. Wei Bo was astonished. What? There's that kind of anniversary? Zhou Yan was also shocked. No way. Is Chao trying to outdo everyone? Even Sun Xiao, who had never been in a relationship, was taken aback by Xiao Xia's words. Besides May 20th, May 21st, Valentine's Day, the Qixi Festival, birthdays, Children's Day, Christmas, New Year's Day, and yearly anniversaries, do couples actually celebrate things like a 521-day relationship anniversary? In that case, are there also 1,314-day, 3,344-day, and 999-day anniversaries? Oh my God, no wonder she's been single her whole life. Just hearing about it was already starting to feel like too much trouble. But then again, if her future other half could be as thoughtful, considerate, and handle everything like Ning Guoqiao, she would be more than willing to celebrate every anniversary. Standing at the entrance of Disneyland, waiting in line to get their tickets checked, Shui Yunxin was a bit dazed. It was just a date. How did they end up here? She was already a mature working professional, coming to an amusement park to play. Chao, is today a special day? Shui Yunxin asked. Someone in front turned around and almost bumped into Shui Yunxin. Ning Guoqiao blocked them with his arm before replying, "It's our 521-day relationship anniversary." Wow, she had to admit, being treated to a Disneyland trip on such a special day was a pleasant surprise for Shui Yunxin. She had been in Haiqing for 6 years and had never been to Disneyland. Although she considered herself uninterested in the likes of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, they weren't part of her childhood. But perhaps there was still a little girl deep inside her. Otherwise, why would she be so happy right now? After graduation, Shui Yunxin's work became increasingly busy. Due to the nature of her job, she often traveled for business, stayed up late, and had her days and nights turned upside down. She often forgot even her own birthday, let alone their 521st day anniversary. This year, on her birthday, she was on a business trip in Xiang province. It was only when Ning Buqiao appeared before her with a cake that she remembered it was her birthday. No one dislikes a sense of occasion. The so-called dislike is just an aversion to trouble. But now, there was someone who wasn't afraid of the trouble, who always remembered everything about her, bringing splash after splash of color into her hectic and overwhelming life. Wow, it's already been 521 days, Shui Yunxin sighed. It feels like we just celebrated our 100-day anniversary yesterday. She still remembered that day when Ning Buqiao came to her place and personally cooked a huge feast. When she came back to her one-bedroom rental after work, she was greeted by an exceptionally warm apartment and the delicious aroma of food. Sometimes, an anniversary was just a home-cooked meal or going out for a grand dinner they had been wanting for a long time. But all of this made Shui Yunxin happy. That's why these 521 days had been so blissful, making time feel like it was flying by. Today wasn't a special day for most people, so there weren't many people queuing outside the amusement park. After about 10 minutes, the two of them were standing inside Disneyland. Unlike the hustle and bustle outside, the park was a complete fairy tale world. The lights were dazzling, the silhouette of the giant castle shimmered against the night sky, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of candy. Ning Buqiao pulled Shui Yunxin to buy a pair of Mickey Mouse headbands. I'm not wearing something so childish. Wow, doesn't it look kind of cute on me? I never thought I could pull off this style. All right then, I guess I'll wear it. Undergoing a mental shift from resistance to whatever to I love it, two Mickey Mouse ears appeared on top of Shui Yunxin's head. The Mickey headband had a kind of magic. After putting it on, she became interested in everything in the park. Walking through it, she felt like she was strolling through a fairy tale castle, a part of the world itself. She gradually started skipping and hopping around, just like she did in college. Watching her like this, Ning Buqiao's heart soared as if it had grown Dumbo's ears. Zhou Yin and the others always teased him for being the boyfriend standard. He just loved being good to Shui Yunxin. It made him very happy. Moreover, in this relationship, he was learning more and more that love is mutual. The competition for girl groups is even fiercer than for boy groups. I wonder if Lisa will be able to debut successfully. Shui Yunxin chatted idly about her recent worries. For idols, the difference in exposure and resources between debuting and not debuting is like heaven and earth. Brother Bai isn't sure about Lisa either. Brother Chui, on the other hand, thinks that while Lisa looks smart, she's actually naturally airheaded, and that kind of personality will attract a lot of fans once she's on a show. Let's not talk about Lisa. She's not my biggest worry right now. The one I'm most worried about is Chun Mao. That guy learns to sing and dance quickly enough, but why is learning social etiquette so hard for him? Forget it. Chun Mao isn't even the most annoying one. The most frustrating are all the idiots in the industry. This circle is truly a collection of oddballs. The sheer diversity of species is outrageous. As she spoke, Shui Yunxin saw a dome-shaped building ahead, filled with a futuristic sci-fi feel. Ning Buqiao pulled her towards the preparation area. What ride is this? Shui Yunxin asked curiously. Tron Light Cycle Power Run, Ning Buqiao explained. It's a high-speed motorcycle? I haven't been on it either. High-speed, Shui Yunxin, who had never been on any roller coaster type ride, took a step back. How about we go on the carousel instead? Ning Buqiao smilet. We're already here. Shui Yunxin. But, however, before she could think it through, she was already straddling the motorcycle-like seat. By the time she realized it and tried to get up and flee, the safety restraints had automatically locked over her chest and abdomen, holding her firmly in place. Chower, I'm a little. No, she was the older one. How could she say scared? Steeling herself, Shui Yunxin psyched herself up. It won't kill me. It won't kill me. She turned her head and saw Ning Buqiao looking at her gently, as if giving her strength. A cold, electronic voice counted down in her ear. 3-2. Vroom whoosh. Ahoo, thrilling. So much fun. Amidst the screams, it felt as if her chest had been thrown open. Her hair whipped wildly in the air as Shui Yunxin yelled in excitement. The entire experience was as fast as lightning. After the safety restraints were released, Shui Yunxin's limbs felt a bit weak, but the extreme excitement and thrill were still roaring inside her. It was her first time on a ride like this. It felt amazing. She turned to look, and Ning Buqiao's face was completely pale. He looked a bit dazed. Shui Yunxin nudged him with her elbow. "Are you okay?" Ning Buqiao forced himself to say, "It was great." Shui Yunxin's eyes were astonishingly bright. The feeling of an adrenaline rush is really something. The work-related frustrations that had just been weighing on her chest vanished with the extreme speed, leaving only exhilaration. However, seeing Ning Buqiao's pale face and how he was forcing himself to endure, Shui Yunxin suddenly realized that perhaps Ning Buqiao didn't enjoy these kinds of high-speed rides. He was only doing it to accompany her. Was it because he saw that she had been under too much work pressure lately and wanted to help her release it? Why did she have such a gentle boyfriend? Was it the heavens compensating her for having suffered too much? For the next ride, Shui Yunxin wanted to go on the carousel. They chose 2 white horses side by side. The music started, and the wooden horses moved up and down as they rotated, with beautiful, gentle lights and shadows flowing around them. "Chower, what do you want to do after graduation?" Shui Yunxin asked. Ning Buqiao hesitated. As a computer science student, the established path was to enter a major tech company and earn a high salary. But he, who had always sought stability, found that he didn't want to take that path. In his heart, there was a distant, unattainable dream. However, that dream was very unrealistic. He might not earn any money for many years, and could even lose everything. "I think I'll go into a major tech company," Ning Buqiao said after thinking for a moment. "With my grades and experience, I should be able to get a few offers from major companies." "Liar." Shui Yunxin tilted her head up. "Don't you want to make animated films?" Ning Buqiao's pupils contracted slightly. "How did you know?" "Because a certain someone becomes a different person whenever he talks about the history of animation at home and abroad, because he has been secretly studying related knowledge, and because the 2 or 3 elective courses he took in university were all related to animation." The carousel stopped, and Shui Yunxin looked at Ning Buqiao seriously. "So why not?" The small decorative lights on the carousel twinkled above Shui Yunxin's head. Faced with her sincerity, Ning Buqiao could no longer lie. "That can only be called a dream." Ning Buqiao smiled shyly. "A person can't live on dreams." "This is your talent," Shui Yunxin said earnestly. "My dear Ning Buqiao, you have a great talent for storytelling and video aesthetics. This has long been proven. Your academic performance is also very good, and you can even draw very well. As for making a living," Shui Yunxin paused for a moment, then looked up and laughed. "I'll support you." It might not have been quiet around them, but every word she said clearly entered Ning Buqiao's ears. Later, they watched the float parade, the fantasy light show, and the fireworks display. They were all very, very beautiful, but none of them shook Ning Buqiao's soul more than Shui Yunxin's. "I'll support you." He remembered that when she spoke, her eyes seemed to hold all the brilliant lights. "I was particularly moved. I used to think that 'I'll support you' was something a boy said to a girl. But Yunxin let me know that love is mutual." But Ning Buqiao was a little embarrassed. "I can't let her support me. I want to earn money and give her a better life." The person he was speaking to honestly was Weibo. When Weibo first heard Ning Buqiao talking about the Disney carousel and what Shui Yunxin had said, he thought the guy was showing off their relationship. Now he understood that this guy was seeking support. Of course, Weibo supported him. "Do it." Weibo made the decision. "I'll invest in you." If someone else had proposed this to him, he might have hesitated. But he knew Ning Buqiao's abilities and character. This guy had a highly sensitive personality and was exceptionally talented in certain areas. Moreover, he was particularly patient, composed, and very responsible. The talent was right there, and Muqiao culture had money and resources, so why not do it? Just do it. Ning Buqiao hadn't expected that with no script or plan, just the sentence, "I want to make an animated film," Weibo would believe in and support him like this. His lips were slightly parted, and he was at a loss for words. "Brother Bo," Weibo interrupted him. "Have you started writing the script? Can it be finished by this time next year? It's fine if you can't. Don't rush. Take your time. But it has to be done before graduation, right? With a script, it will be easy to get financing." Don't be afraid to spend money. Since we're doing it, we must make a masterpiece. Let me think. How about this? You write the script first, and I'll have Brother Chui handle the other matters. He's more professional than I am. Ning Guoqiao had originally wanted to say, I will definitely work hard. But with Wei Bo's words, he was immediately brought into the rhythm of a working professional. I already have a prototype for the story, but it can't be called a script yet. I've been learning screenwriting techniques recently. The two chatted for more than 10 minutes, and the more Wei Bo listened, the more he felt that this was a reliable venture. Although Chauer said, this is just a dream, his actions were very honest. He had long been preparing for this. In short, Chauer has the basic qualities to make an animated film. Next, throw him into a program run by industry giants to support new directors and screenwriters to study hard, and then throw him onto some animation sets to grow through practice. In just over 10 minutes, Wei Bai had already arranged Ning Guoqiao's next year or two. At this moment, when he looked at Ning Guoqiao again, his eyes were different. My son has the makings of a famous director. After chatting with Ning Guoqiao, Wei Bai slung his backpack on and prepared to go home. The U-8 was parked downstairs from the dormitory. It would only take him a few minutes to drive home. Pushing open the door and tossing his backpack onto the sofa, Wei Bai called out, Classmate Xie, I'm home. He wasn't greeted by classmate Xie, but by a big, round fur ball. Meow meow. Wei Bai scooped up the ball of fur. Lai Fu, you need to lose some weight. How about this? Starting tomorrow, I'll portion out your meals and cut your snacks in half. What do you think? Meow. The tabby cat in his arms changed its tone, struggling with all four paws, as if in protest. You're not willing. Wei Bai reasoned patiently. Objection overruled. Lai Fu kicked his legs, jumped out of his arms to the floor, turned back to meow at him, and then walked away gracefully with a cat's swagger. Wei Bai, this little guy wasn't like this when he scammed me for a home. Xian Yuman poked her head out of the kitchen. Do you smell that wonderful aroma? Wei Bai, yes, classmate Xie, are you making chicken? Are we having chicken tonight? Xian Yuman blinked. Lai Fu is having chicken soup tonight. She made pure chicken breast cat food for Lai Fu, cooking it and then freezing it in individual portions in the refrigerator, which was both delicious and convenient. Wei Bai, and what about me? Xian Yuman, we're eating out. Wei Bai resisted. I'll just drink Lai Fu's chicken soup. He could just add some noodles and greens, and it would be a nice chicken noodle soup. Xian Yuman smiled. There's not much soup left, not even enough for Lai Fu. Wei Bai? Classmate Xie, he accused. You're playing favorites now. Lai Fu just had surgery to remove an important part of a male cat's life, Xian Yuman said with a straight face. He needs to be properly nourished. Wei Bai protested. That was half a month ago. Now, the cone of shame around Lai Fu's neck was gone. The cat was lively and energetic, ignoring his dad. What nourishment did he still need? Xian Yuman blinked. Bye-bye. Are you jealous of Lai Fu? Of course not. Besides, why would he be jealous of this fat furball? All right, it seemed he was indeed jealous. How childish. Wei Bai? Humph. What's wrong with being childish? Anyone who's been in love knows that when you're with the person you love, you become a childish boy. Even if he had just closed a $500 million deal, it didn't stop him from coming home to compete with Lai Fu for affection. Lai Fu, who appeared and disappeared like a ghost, popped out from nowhere and was now rolling around and acting cute at classmate Xie's feet. Classmate Xie bent down to pet the cat's head, then looked up and smiled. We're having roasted chicken. Wei Bai took a few deep breaths. He knew it. The air was clearly filled with the smell of roasted chicken. This little classmate Xie, being mischievous again. Wei Bai looked at Lai Fu triumphantly. The family hierarchy is clear now, isn't it? Dinner not only included roasted chicken, but also roasted vegetables, which Wei Bai liked. Paired with classmate Xie's handmade flatbreads and hand-mixed yuzu lemonade, Wei Bai ate with great satisfaction. That evening, he began to write a project proposal. Ning Guoqiao wanted to make an animated film, and Wei Bai also had a dream in his heart. For a long time, he had wanted to create a game. In this game, there would be a storyline, the story of him and classmate Xie. A young man controlled by the plot, trying to struggle, and a girl shrouded in mist in the young man's eyes. He had promised classmate Xie that one day he would explain to her all the things that she found strange. Now, he was going to use a game to tell classmate Xie the secret hidden deep in his heart. The production of a game requires the completion of 4 major stages: planning, development, testing, and release. Wei by now had to start with the planning. You want to make a puzzle-solving game. The game world would be a future metropolis with highly advanced technology where digital crime is rampant. The player, acting as a hacker detective, is commissioned by a mysterious organization to investigate a series of bizarre cases related to a string of digital code. This code has infiltrated every corner of the city like a virus, hiding a huge conspiracy to subvert the world. The player possesses a set of hacker tools that can connect to the city's network nodes and invade various digital devices, using digital interaction to decrypt clues. In the process, the player also needs to conceal their existence. Otherwise, they will attract pursuit from the police and other organizations. And his story with classmate Xie would be a storyline woven into it, a life of garbled code under the chaos of digital crime. The player would help him control his body to see the fog-shrouded classmate Xie clearly and get everything back on track. In the dead of night, inspiration struck Wei Bai. He finalized the game's core concept, core gameplay, and even began writing detailed plot and character settings. Of course, making a large-scale single-player game was no easy task, especially since Wei Bai had no experience in game development and was unfamiliar with many aspects like level design, numerical balance, and user interface interaction. At 1 a.m, after writing a portion of the plot settings, Wei Bai searched his WeChat list for a name he hadn't contacted in a long time. Maker Society Interactive Game Group. Lu Rini. Lu Rini was one of the first people Wei Bai met after joining the Maker Society. In Wei Bai's memory, this guy was very talkative and professionally competent. Although they hadn't been in much contact later on, they were still on terms on their moments. In Wei Bai's memory, this person was obsessed with games. His moments were all game-related. He opened Lu Rini's moments and scrolled through them. It was just as he remembered. Wouldn't he be exhausted to death if he couldn't lead a team? To make a large-scale single-player game, he had to assemble a team with both technical skills and experience. Wei Bai looked at Lu Rini's profile picture on his WeChat screen and smiled like a capitalist. Wei Bai was a man of action. He arranged to meet Lu Rini on Monday. Lu Rini was still a bit dazed even after sitting down across from Wei Bai. Hold on, this guy is so successful now. It's one thing that he hasn't deleted a small fry like him, but he's actually asking him out for a meal, and they were eating the unremarkable clay pot rice from the cafeteria, making them seem like ordinary university students. Yes, he was an ordinary university student, but Wei Bai wasn't. Wei Bai was such a prominent figure. The fact that he had exchanged a few words with Wei Bai back in the Maker Society was something he had already bragged about to countless people. If nothing unexpected happened, he could brag about this for a lifetime. Lu Rini was quite surprised that Wei Bai had asked him to eat together today. He had originally planned to go to the night market with his girlfriend, but he bailed. What could Wei Bai want with him? Want to recruit him into Lingxi. His major and experience didn't align with Lingxi at all. Or did he want to sign him as an artist or internet celebrity? That was a possibility. He considered himself somewhat handsome, at least no worse than Zhou Yan. Are you still in the interactive game group? Wei Bai asked after a few pleasantries. He actually knew that Lu Rini was now the leader of the interactive game group and was recently seeking to get the entire team into a major company. Lu Rini didn't hide it from him. As you know, it's not easy to develop the members and chemistry of a team. I've also thought about starting my own business with the team, but games like brain-computer interfaces are a money-burning business. I've earned a lot by taking on projects with the team, but when it comes to doing something serious, this amount of money is nowhere near enough. I've recently connected with 2 senior alumni and asked for their recommendations to see if any company would be willing to acquire my entire team. Wei Bai smiled. How about we have a chat? The motion of Lu Rini shoveling his clay pot rice froze instantly. Chat about what? Wait, what were they just talking about? Oh, right, the entire team acquisition. Lu Rini's pupils trembled. For real? Lingxi Technology and Mitsao Culture were obviously not considered major companies right now, but anyone could see the prospects of Lingxi Technology. Besides, everyone on campus knew that the compensation at Lingxi far exceeded the industry average. But why would Wei Bai want to acquire their game group? It couldn't be that he wanted to make a game, could it? What's there to be real or not about? Wei Bai explained. I want to create a high-quality, single-player game. I already have the core concept and core gameplay, and now I'm lacking mature partners. The office will be in the upcoming Lingxi Industrial Park, as a separate company from Lingxi. I've seen some of your previous works. Wei Bai smiled. I wonder if I'll have the opportunity to be your fellow traveler? Lu Rennie was completely stunned. He had never imagined that Wei Bai was looking for him because he wanted to make a game. A major company with backing, acquisition of the entire team, a good boss, good benefits, a good working environment. Isn't this the home he had been desperately searching for? Done. Lu Rennie made the decision on the spot. I have no problem with it, but I need to ask for the opinions of the other team members. Wei Bai was very understanding. In terms of compensation, we are all a startup team. Besides salaries, there will also be shared dividends. But also because it's a startup team, there are risks, Wei Bai said sincerely. I can't guarantee whether this game will make money, but I can guarantee that if we lose, it's on me, and if we profit, it belongs to everyone. This speech made Lu Rennie want to sign a contract with Wei Bai immediately. He thought to himself, with this kind of vision, no wonder Jiang Xiang was willing to take a back seat. Boss, can I invest money? Lu Rennie joked. I have a little bit of money. Wei Bai smiled. You're also a boss. Lu Rennie was taken aback, only then realizing.